Good evening, chat. Hello. It is. Why do I sound so far away? Oh, that's why. I'm an external speaker. Sorry, chat. It's an echo. Hello, chat. Welcome. It is Thursday night. Welcome to the Thursday night show. Be a locker if we did every other night, but we've got tonight's a funny night. Like there's some kind of serious topics, but overall, this is kind of a funny night. Obviously, you guys see what we're leading off with LeBron and the Mpreg fantasies that are out there. So it's just going to be a funny night tonight. So thank you everybody for being here. Once again, if you guys are new, my name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and yeah, tonight we got some legal stuff, but it's funny legal stuff. It's funny legal stuff. Only the funniest. And hold on here. I forgot to oh, gotta remove this. And real quick, yes, I am on time. Suffa chat. It's what you get. It's what you get out there. I do this to spite you now. I am on time to spite you, chat. That is what's gonna happen. But guys, you guys can find us tonight. We are live on Twitter. We're live here on YouTube and also live on Locals. If you guys don't know what Locals is, remember, guys, Locals is the thing that we wish Patreon would be. So over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com, you can join us. It's a fun, free community. If you wish to support, it's $3 a month. You pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. Right now, we've got the Thursday night live chat open. It's open. Everybody join. Get to hang out. You can say all the things there you're not allowed to say on YouTube or on Twitter. And then after this show, we do the live show. We do 2 live shows a week. We do the Monday night show, 9 o'clock. Then we do the Thursday night show. So right after this one, we get to hang out. That is for paying supporters only. So if you guys want to do that, you have to pony up. Or you can use the promo code Summertime 2025. And that'll give you 1 month free access. I think you guys will enjoy it. Real quick, yes, I am on time, Chugi. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. And then Unhung Hero for 50 subs. Let's fucking go, chat. Let's go. That's... Oh, hold on 1 second. Let's fucking go, chat. You know what? That gets us in a... That gets us in a woo, and it gets you a Robo Clyde. Just crushing those grades. Remember, chat, what Unhung Hero just did? That's what he's doing if you want to visualize it. 50 subs, just the grays. You're done. You're done. So, guys, please, thank you, Unhung, for your generosity and your support. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. Yes, Friday is HH Day. Oh, yes, Ron DeSantis declared tomorrow Hulk Hogan Day. Yes. All the buildings in Florida will fly their flags at half staff. It's not half mast, it's half staff is technically the correct actually term. And yes, it's HH Day tomorrow, chat. So remember, walk down the street going HH and hold your hand up high and see if you want people, they'll come up to you and go. So just hold it like that and screaming HH. Guys, Rumble is I don't know what Rumble's deal is. I tried once again, Rumble's fighting with me, so I didn't want to deal with it tonight. So Katie says got a puppy today. Awesome news. Awesome. What type of bulldog? Pit bull is it? Oh. So once again, a couple days after your Greer stream, big developments. Yeah, don't stream and the case will never end. I know. So we'll deal with those when they come up, Otto. But I do know what you're talking about. Yes. HH run a wild, brother. All right, guys, talk is cheap, and we're gonna be at this for a while tonight. As you guys are aware, I'm sure 2.0 has helped push this theory enough. My birthday is on the 10th. I'm gonna be 40. So she's been doing, getting me different things through the past 40 days. Well, not really the past 40 days, but trying to get me a bunch of different things. Now, some of them are serious and some of them are things we both need, but because I can use them. It counts as a present. Anyway, you guys have also been sending stuff in, and a couple of you sent things in, so we're gonna get to those now. Here's this one, came from Amazon. I don't know who did it. So so far it's not ticking, so I guess that's good. So let's see here. I'm confident this one's not going to explode. The other one's not. Is it ticking? Not yet. Okay. No. So if you sent this, I don't know who sent it. Sorry. It is a... It is a breeder box. What the hell? I don't know. What's up with YouTube and your names? YouTube's going weird again, guys, with that. They did it before. So let's see what is in here. So there's phone. Okay. I guess this is very fitting. I waited till tonight with the LeBron stuff, but it's a it's got injectors. Is it like, I think, are you sure this didn't mean to go to Aaron? So he could sample goo? It's a gourmet goo box, chat. Like, seriously, like, what the hell? I know it's a way to free sperm. I thought there'd be a note in here with it or something. So, whoever got this, you son of a bitch, I don't get it, but okay, thank you. I'm getting old, I guess. I guess that's the joke. I could send this to Aaron and Nick and let them fight over it. Bring them together at Stoney's and like, it's like Joker with the pool cue. I just take it and throw it on the ground. It's like, all right, you know, the winner takes all, and they'll just be fighting each other for it. Oh, chat. Thank you, whoever sent me this. I appreciate it. Someone wants to inseminate you, or they want me to inseminate them. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if one of you people have Mpreg fantasies, I guess. So, we hold a tryouts, yes. Oh, you guys saw Louis. Yes, Louis poked his head up in there. Was someone telling me to fuck myself? I mean, a lot of people would. A lot of people have. That list never ends. Are we dog sitting again? Yeah, that was kind of a last minute thing, but yes, we are dog sitting.
Is Kimbo on chat? Because I would think that's a Kimbo gift.
I was going to say, yeah, this is a Kimbo gift, I think, but I don't know where Kimbo's at. I didn't see his name in here yet, so. Yes, foam for a foamer. Kitty says, this is gay! Now we have to remember who people are. Yes. So, guys, if you really want to fuck with people, switch up your avatars. That'll really screw with people. Oh, so per Kirsha, Jim is not dead. Oh, that is interesting. I thought he was. I really believed he was dead by this point. I know you guys, if you hadn't heard, like all the weird stuff happening with Jim's website and everything, it sounded like Mr. Medicare had kicked the bucket. So, yeah. Anyways, this is, I think, from Shiro Z31. I think this is from him. Came from over yonder in Dayton, Ohio. So I'm thinking this is from him, I believe. I'm not going to say anything else. I was just going to say, I believe this came from him. But anyways, it's a big old box. So, let's see. You can hear stuff rattling around in here. So maybe this one will explode. The power of Polkamania is keeping Mr. Medicare alive. Yes. It's like a psyker dying to preserve him. I don't know how you tape this because it's like the type of box. I'm confused. Whoever you did your tape. Oh, I see how you taped it. Okay, this makes some sense now. So, when is the Battle of Jim's driveway? Maybe that'll be like the final thing for Jim. No, I think it's Dugam. I think that's who said it. I forget who said he had this, but okay. Cool. This will go good for when I make like the foam parts for the model sets, guys. you can cut it with a knife, but it doesn't cut it very well. The way you cut foam is with a hot wire. So it's like literally like a wire that you plug it all in, and it looks like kind of like an old like reciprocating jigsaw, kind of. And that's how you can make precise cuts with it. So that'll be very nice. Thank you so much. I know you'd mentioned it. So actually, here we go. We have notes. Yep, it is Shiro. Okay. He says, Sean, my dad had this thing sitting around from an auction buy. It gets hot, so I assume it's fully functional. Doesn't look like it's ever been used. What? That's good if it's getting hot. And he says, also enjoy this 50th anniversary F-16 patch. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, nice. For the F-16, 1974 to 2024. And chat, yes, you're like, wait, the F-16's been around since 1974? Yes. Yes. It's been around forever. And that's the crazy thing. When you think of an airplane that's 50 years old in your head, you might think like a P-51 Mustang. Nope, it's an F-16. It's very cool. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Shiro. I appreciate it. Very, very much, man. Thank you so much. Let's see. Is there anything else in here? No. And no bomb, chat. Sadly, no bomb. So thank you so much. All right. I'll put that there. Yes, Mustangs are 80 years old now. Yes. Stuffer and being old. Now we got this one. Makes me wonder what's in here. This is from Lost Highway Will. He told me to open it, so we're going to open it. Oh my gosh. I got to find the end on it first. So here we go. Yes, the B-52 is pushing almost 75 years old at this point. So, you know, maybe this one is a bomb, chat. It could be like a big linear charge. So, like, maybe it's going to go off and split me in half. Like, you know, so just there might be hope. There might be hope here after all. I mean, I'm not sure it's a bomb, though, because 2.0 is still standing here, so I don't think she's worried. God dang. This is, like, taped up. It's tape! It's tape. That would be so messy. Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't have to be here to clean it up, so that's okay. Yes, but if it was a shape charge, it would show that they're highly proficient and technical, to quote Detective Hannah from Heat. Is that like a glitter bomb? No, Sarah, imagine like a big piece of angle iron with a bunch of plastic explosive tucked inside of it. So no, it'd be like if you wanted to blow a hole in a building or cut like a beam in half, you would use a linear charge to like cut things, because you can cut things with explosives. So no, it'd be a lot worse than a glitter bomb. It would be what I wished every glitter bomb video turned into, was it actually exploding. JLR says, how old am I? 39 for now. Yes, Heat is free on YouTube. Box cutter fun. I have box cutters. I just didn't think to bring it out here. I have more than that. I have a ton of box cutters. Okay, let's see what we got. You got a copper liner and turn it into an EFP blade. Well, yeah, but we're not doing it Iranian style. Okay, so we got a lot of paper. Okay. What the heck is this? Is there a note? Wow, this was expertly packed. I can tell you that much. I will say, from my years working at FedEx, this is like 10 out of 10 would let you ship again. This is very well done. I'm actually really impressed. Because most people who ship shit through FedEx were fucking horrible. And I thought semi-retarded. So good job. Good job. Thank you. This is good. This is good. Here, 2.0. Here's a box. I don't know where to put that one. One's a little big. Okay. So. Ooh. Oh, shit. I can't show this.
Oh, my.
I can't show this on YouTube. I think I'll get in trouble. No, Chad, it's not a dildo. This is far more useful. Except I can't even cut it open. I think I could show the box, and that's probably going to be it. Holy shit, Will. You are like the fucking man. The picture of my taint. It's a picture of my taint and rolled up for me. You'd have to unfurl it. You could show the box. I think so. Okay, so this is a... This will be fun to play with. Actually, is it a... Okay, no, it's not a... I thought it was... Okay. It is a Schmeiser, an MP40. It is... I was worried. I'm like, oh my God, he sent me a real gun. I'm like, fuck! He doesn't know that's not illegal. I hope. But no, I think it's not a... Let me double check the calibers on here. Okay, 177. Okay, yeah, this is not an airsoft gun. This is a BB gun or a pellet gun. Whoo! I'm gonna open this up real quick, chat. I'm gonna turn. Damn, this actually has weight to it. Some heft. That's what she said.
I don't know if you can show that.
I'm not gonna show this part. I'm just gonna like.
You can show it on local.
I'm just gonna. There you go, chat. There you go. God, this feels pretty like accurate in weight to an MP40. Very, very accurate. Nice. So I can go shoot car windows out in the neighborhood now. A 2.0 could drive for me, and I could sit in the back of the car.
Take the comment off.
Okay, I'll take the comment off. But there you go, chat. And I just got to play with it. So we'll give Hassan Piker a run for his money. Yeah. It's like in Gran Torino. He can pull that out. And I'll be like, he can pull out his gay little airsoft gun. I'll be like, how many bullets you got? How many bullets you got, Hassan? That's like my favorite scene in the movie, too. It's not Get Off My Lawn. It's when the Chinese gangsters pull out their MAC-10 and they're like, how many bullets you got? It's like, scares off the Mexicans. Okay, I think we're all done. Except for one more thing, I guess.
No, you have one of mine.
Oh, okay, hold on.
If you want to do mine on locals, that's fine.
We'll do yours on locals.
Okay.
So, but Will, thank you. That is so cool. Okay.
Nope.
Oh, hold on.
I have to check something.
What are you looking for?
Nothing. You can make the camera on.
Do I have to, like, you're looking at... Is this a fucking fed... Are you going to get me raided?
Turn the camera on.
What the fuck is...
It's fine.
Do I...
It's all fine.
You're not making me feel like it's fine right now.
Get away.
Well, what's going to happen?
Nothing. I just looked out the window. No good reason.
I swear to God, you're going to give...
Felt like it.
I'm going to have a fucking heart attack or something.
Okay. Here we go. You ready?
No. Read
out loud. Don't be skimming ahead. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So apparently, okay, here we go. All right. Hello, chat. My name is Sean Martin. I apologize for being late and gay. I'm currently in good standing with the Ohio bar. For how long, I generally don't know. I've been instructed to read this calmly, completely, and without interruption. It really doesn't make it sound like it's duress, though. I'm in good spirits, a little hungry. Otherwise, I'm doing fine. My handler's been taking care of me well. I've been asked to acknowledge 2.0. She is the most... Well, these aren't fake. This is true.
I didn't write this.
I know. Beautiful, kind, brilliant, patient, supportive, understanding, generous, thoughtful.
You didn't follow instructions.
Say the numbers.
Say the numbers. 1. Okay. Beautiful. It's important.
Okay. 1. Beautiful. 2. Brilliant. 3. Kind. 4. Patient. 5. Supportive. I swear to God, if a Bearcat rolls up, they're gonna watch me fucking get down on camera.
It's fine. It's fine.
Even if they're in on the joke. 6. Understanding. 7. Generous. 8. Thoughtful. 9. Funny. This makes me very nervous right now. 10. Dependable. 11 loving, 12 honest, 13 creative, 14 graceful, 15 trustworthy, 16 wise, 17 articulate, 18 driven, and she is very driven, 19 loyal. I will.
Stop it.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen.
Go ahead.
2.0. I bet.
2.0. Get it?
No.
1 to 20. I'm 2.0.
Oh, okay.
Get it?
I do now.
Okay.
I have been informed a gift is being given to me. Something meaningful, although I wasn't told what it is. I wasn't consulted. I'm told it's happening, that it's important. I'm aware that one of my moderators is traveling across country. I'm also aware that we'll be letting this gift to me personally. She's extremely enthusiastic. I'd like to take a second to reassure chat. Everything's completely normal. I am totally fine. Totally fine. I am not fine right now. Okay. He's scared. You're goddamn right I'm scared right now. With people from the internet becoming involved in my life, this is fine. This is normal. I don't know about that. This is absolutely no reason for concern. The 6-foot man with the backpack pacing up the street is probably lost. I ask everyone to remain calm. There's no need for speculation or jokes about house guests. There is no indication that anyone or will be spending the night. Any contrary belief is purely imaginative.
Okay.
Well, you better tell me it's a person or I'm going to think it's Slender Man. Am I going to have to kill Hat Man?
Keep going.
Well, I need more. I also understand everything in this moment has been done for my benefit. To assist you with my shortcomings, I accept that I acknowledge the coordination, the effort the care has been involved in making this a reality. Well, I don't know what it is. It's clear someone much taller, tattooed, more experienced than myself is clearly better suited for the task. They've been brought in to do what I can't. I wasn't asked. Is this person in our house right now?
I mean, I went to the door, but
I understand. Making me.
Just keep reading.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Jeez. But everyone, especially 2.0, seems very pleased with it. I'm adjusting that. This is making me really nervous.
Read it.
Okay.
Stop.
Also, Maddie built me a website from scratch, and with only a few weeks to get here, start to finish, yes, I have an official website. It's potentiallycriminal.com. I'm surprised that's like not taken already. Thank you, Maddie. I am more than happy for you to stay for the weekend and build models. Okay, is this like a real thing? Like, is it gonna be like?
You need to share your screen.
I'm going to, but I'm gonna make sure it's not like horse porn first.
It's not.
Okay.
And I'm going to help you through this.
Okay. All right. We're going to this. It's a real website. Okay. I'm not fat enough in the picture, so it's not. Yeah. That's deceptive advertising.
Okay.
Okay. About.
Why is your hand on the gun? Can you please put that away?
There, it's decocked.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, about. Okay, Sean Patrick Myers, a criminal defense attorney based in Northeast Ohio, holds a Bachelor of Arts, Political Science from BGSU, and is JD from the University of Toledo. Oh, this is just all from my website here.
Boring.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, wait. There's still...
Okay. Outside the courtroom, Sean's creator hosts Potentially Criminal live stream and digital media channel that covers trials, legal news, and high-profile cases. The show offers real-time trial coverage and in-depth legal commentary, breaking down complex court proceedings in a way that is accessible and informative to a general audience. I would agree. It is a law channel. With a focus on clarity, accuracy, and public understanding, Sean uses professional experience to explain the real-world implications of legal strategies, courtroom procedures, and case law. What began as a small live stream has grown into a full-fledged program with an engaged community. Potentially Criminal blends legal education with media analysis, often exploring cultural and social dynamics surrounding major cases. The show aims to make legal issues understandable to non-lawyers without watering down the substance. Sean is also host Sean's Model Bench, a separate live stream and video channel dedicated to scale model building. The show features step-by-step construction, painting techniques, and historical commentary on the subjects being built, typically tanks, aircraft, and vehicles from World War II. The modeled bench provides a creative outlet for Sean's passion for military history and craftsmanship, and has developed its own following among hobbyists and history enthusiasts. Okay.
Very nice.
Okay.
Go to home.
Oh, I am at home. Okay, I am home.
Scroll down.
Okay. Long Clyde. It's I'm not as fat. I'm not fat enough for the picture. Okay. So the live stream focuses on legal trials and news. The show is hosted by Cleveland-based defense attorney Sean Martin, who, unlike other legal experts, actually practices law. True. It offers factual legal analysis, humor, and a regular disregard for the chat. While the goal is to make complex legal matters understandable, most viewers are here to watch for Clyde, who makes regular appearances much more popular than the host. Speaking of Clyde.
Hey,
Bubba.
Come say hi to chat.
Hey, Bubba. Make me feel calm, Clyde. You are my emotional support dog right now because I'm worried someone's outside. So we have who's the penny pointer? Oh, that takes me to
Discord.
That takes me to Discord. Okay. All right. So we need to go back to Chef Clyde.
Don't do that one yet. Don't do that one yet.
Okay. The mods. They are totally useless. Advocates for trans equality. I think that's very correct. Suffragiannies. Go back to this tab. Can I click on this one? Okay. Future Mrs. Martin 2.0. Oh, and for her website, simplystrungtogether.com. You guys can also still, if you guys talk to her, she will get you some jewelry. Simplystrungtogether.com, chat. She'll hook you up with stuff.
Okay, keep going. This is not about me. This is about you.
He put it together.
Okay, Clyde, we're going to do Clyde later.
Okay. So what do I click on now?
Scroll down.
Okay. Unrelated but deeply important. These topics have no legal value, but infinite emotional value to Sean. Sandwiches. Can Chef Clyde stack a sandwich? The Sandwich Conclave.
That takes him to your.
Oh, that takes me to the sandwich show I did. Okay. Sean's model bench takes me to the channel.
Yep.
Get yelled at. I like this. Okay.
That's fine.
Then we have trains.
Go ahead and click the train one.
All aboard. What's this?
There you go.
All right. Is it my birthday yet?
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's my birthday
Scroll
in
down.
9. Okay, so here you go. Okay, so you can leave messages.
Yes. So this is for chat, was why we're giving it to you early. So that chat, if they would like, can submit their own message for you to read later. Do know, chat, that like you're gonna put your information in. Somebody is moderating it. So if it's too crass, we probably won't put it up there. But it won't show up immediately because it has to go through the approval process. So there's that.
Okay. All right. So then we've got channels.
Nope. Go back to home.
Keep going back to home. Okay.
Scroll down.
Okay.
Up.
Is this share screen like just a joke?
Here, go.
Is this share screen thing a joke?
Click it. See what happens.
Sean received the message. He still won't read it. Latent gaze. Sean suffers from a debilitating condition known as time blindness. Will he go live? Will audio function? Will he share the screen? The only certainty is that he'll be late, but somehow gayer than ever. Fair enough. Latent gay. 1,010 shows. 1,010 late shows. You can also vote if Sean is late and gay. Yes, he's late. He's gay. Chat matters. Sean takes immense pride in reading almost every super chat, ensuring that most messages get their spotlight. Unless, of course, he's distracted by yelling at his models, assuming the melanation of the chat, or forgetting to share the screen. Well, sometimes you got to assume the melanation. The depressing truth about super chats, they're 88% success rate to read, sometimes 12% ignored.
Scroll down.
Or 2069 read.
Yep.
All hail chat.
Read these. These are fun.
I was accused of stealing a train from a marshalling yard in Ohio. That's where all the trains go. I was charged with grand theft locomotive, and Sean, with his train expertise, was lowered to charge down to simple theft. I wanted to reenact a great locomotive chase from the Civil War. 10 out of 10, greater than great, would recommend. Ag Biochemist is because of Sean's blogs. I decided to make a move to the Pacific Northwest. There was an overwhelming urge to finish what my predecessor at the school started. Between work and stargazing, I'm going to take a stab at meeting some new people. They even have canned cheese. And then 2.0 says, who cares? Sean won't read this. Oh my God. You guys are... Maddie B. Thank you for making this, Maddie. This is fun. Becoming a Janny for Sean's channel was truly life-changing. I used to have hopes and dreams, but now I spend my free time being harassed by the chat. It's exactly what I pictured when I went to college, and nothing brings joy to my life. Quite like being ignored by Sean, all while he forgets to share the screen. KLF says, I watched Sean's show thinking about it was crime, but the real offense is how little Clyde is on camera. Sure, Sean's a lawyer, but if I want to hear a guy ramble on, I call it Maddie. Clyde's the only one that I stay for. Someone give Clyde his own show already.
Can you give a no?
No, he's not, sadly. J-Rock says N. Okay. All right.
Wait, there's a few more.
Well, there's a bunch.
There's not
okay.
that many.
Okay. Mystery Snapper says, tell Angela and block me. Mount Reza says, 4-star days. Katie says, I only watch for Clyde. He's way hotter than Sean. If he ever wants a belly rub, I volunteer for real. I'd sit, beg, or roll over for Chef Clyde. Alyssa Clip says, show us your feet. Hella says he won't give me a wrench on his lean model channel, but otherwise he's tolerable. Erica Thorpe says, before I swam across the Rio Grande to escape my favela, I had no idea what life in America would be like. But thanks to Sean's show, I learned everything. I learned I needed how to build a tower. I'm way less intelligent than I thought, and that's normal, totally normal for strangers to talk about court cases for hours on end. Without Sean, I'd probably still think I plead the fifth was an excuse for coming home wasted at 5. Dolly says 8 out of 10. Recommend him as your sponsor, even if he wants to meet at Stoney's.
Keep going.
All right, here, you're gonna hold him. He's getting fat.
Oh, you should go.
All right. Ooh, he sprayed water everywhere. We got the weekly live stream schedules.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love how it says
so those will actually take you to
what's on
YouTube or locals or your model channel.
Yes, I love how it says enjoy Sean Cope and Sneed. He's not mad, just frustrated. Clyde says it's your fault he's still awake. Cloud times are approximate, precision not guaranteed. Clyde is not responsible for delays.
Nope.
Okay, now where do I go from here?
So then you can go up to the Clyde one at the top.
Okay. Clyde, Crush the Grays, Robomech. About Clyde. It says, hi, I'm Clyde turned rescue dog turned rescue hero. I might look small, but I ran that pound, handpicked my humans, and now I'm the boss. My 2 awesome parrots are 2.0 and Sean. By day, I'm Chef Clyde, crafting sandwiches so legendary they belong in museums. Think Van Gogh meets the deli counter. National Sandwich Day. Yeah, that's my Super Bowl. By night, I'm Robo Clyde, the mech warrior dog stomping grays in the dust. In our videos, I stride across the battlefield with steel paws, zero mercy. Greens only beyond this point. My best friend, Lainey, may be shy, but she always leaves me the room and the bed and stays by my side when the storms roll in. I keep my awoos off screen. You don't want to leave them wanting more. And no, I'm not talking about the pee incident. And let's be real, I'm kind of a big deal. I launched Clyde Coin to the moon. The Diamond Paws chat. Diamond Paws. I live for treats, for new peens, and every one of you on the green team. Grays, you know what's coming. I'm Clyde. I'm here to eat sandwiches and destroy Grays. Hi, Louie. I'm all out of sandwiches. A day in the life of Clyde. So, yes, he looks out the door, and then he sits, and then he works.
There's an arrow over on the right.
Yes. And that's early on when we first... That's an early Clyde picture right there. We first got him. That's later. I don't know when that is. I'm a little upset he's racing for Red Bull, but okay. I don't remember when this picture came from.
That was on your way back from your parents' house.
Like when we first got him?
A little while in.
Okay. Well, He likes to stare out the window. That's Clyde and Laney, guys. You guys have seen Laney before. Here's Clyde with his peens. There's Clyde as a train conductor. Here's Clyde as a living in the swamp. There's Clyde and Laney again. Here's another Clyde. Here's Clyde at his village people gay phase. Here's Clyde. That's at the vet, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's Clyde and Laney at the vet. Clyde trying to look like a fox. That's early. That's an early cut.
Husky.
Oh, that's a husky. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I would guess
That's a very early Clyde. This is a very early Clyde here, chat.
Mm-hmm.
This is Clyde and me with the panda hats. This is Clyde with the cat at the vet. That's Clyde trying to be a luchador.
With sandwiches.
Yes. And Clyde and Laney in their stroller. There's Laney and Clyde. And this is Clyde very early on.
Yeah.
Once we realized he wasn't gonna die on us, this is Clyde. And you guys can see he was skin and bones when we got him. This is sometime. This is Clyde as a troubadour in a mariachi band. There's another Clyde. Here's Clyde fighting for the Scottish nobles. Clyde with a handlebar mustache. Oh, this is funny when Clyde goes out and we mow the grass. He'll do that.
Yeah, it's all green.
Yes.
Which is why he's best for greens.
Yes. Here's Chef Clyde when he worked at his Michelin restaurant. There's another. That's another young Clyde.
Yeah.
Here's another Clyde when we first got him. Like I said, guys, he was all skin and bones. Here's Clyde as a koala bear. He looks so cute. This is Clyde as he. I think he was doing better in the summer, but this was still early on. This is Clyde. We were bringing him home.
Yep. Because I would not have picked out that horrible sweater, but
yeah,
that's what he came home.
They gave us the sweater because he was cold.
In April.
Yes. This is Clyde when he works at the lab, when he's, he was crunching the numbers and said, guys, I don't really think it was 6 million. Here's Clyde looking at all the fish at Pymatuning Lake. Then here's Clyde, putting in work. Aww. Clyde's adventures. He does Clyde coin.
You play it.
Okay. That's right, chat. Clyde coin is going to the moon. Here's the Clyde blowing up all the grays. And then here's the one you're used to. There we go. Maddie, thank you. This is hilarious.
So we don't have to go through these. The channels shows you different channels.
Yeah.
Merch will take them to
the Teespring. Oh, cool.
The law one will take them to your
legal website.
Okay. And then let's go back to the home. And
okay.
Click on Clyde.
Click on Clyde. Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Chef Clyde. Okay.
Turn the music on.
Oh my God, is this a game? Arrows?
Yep. Stacking sandwiches.
This is fucking hilarious.
It's like
Boom I know, but can they see it in chat?
Yes. Well, I think so. I don't know. Can they see it?
I don't know. I'm busy playing the game. I don't know.
No, they don't see it.
Okay. Well, hold on. Here you go, chat. This is Clyde sandwich stacking. I think they can see it now.
Yeah. Play it. It doesn't take too long to play.
I'm not. I'm playing it. Okay. I like the Killdozer in the background. I know I'm a little upset with this. Made the game too? Wow. Wow. I guess I don't need to tell you to learn the code. Next level, okay. I do have a big screen. Okay, some of those are too far. Yeah, I was gonna say some of those are too far away. I don't want to lose. Some nasty vegetarian crap right now. There you go. We didn't need a capture card after all. Okay. Guys, just read chat. Clutch, chat. We're going clutch. Look at that. Suck it dry, Worski. I'll show you some real gaming. We don't have to use the gamer words yet. Okay, click on the link. Oh, it takes me to the farms.
There's your page on the farm.
Yes. Yes.
We had to hide that.
What's that?
We hit.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Maddie. This is hilarious.
I think that's pretty much it. Did I catch everything, guys? Is there anything else I needed to go through? I think I caught it.
Whew. Well, there we go. That was fun. Thank you, Maddie. Holy cow. I don't know how long that took you, but thank you so much. That is
He's been working like day and night. I go to bed, I wake up to like, here's all the changes.
Oh.
And then he'll catch me like, 2 hours later. I made more changes. He put a ton of effort into this.
I could tell. Holy shit, it is so cool. Hella says, can you all play the game? I think so.
Everybody
just go there.
can. Everybody can.
Everybody can play the game, I do believe.
Yeah.
I'm just believing Maddie. I don't believe nobody showed up. Like I said, Chad, I love all you guys, but if you guys showed up, it'd be a little awkward.
I don't know. Double check the window. I'm kidding. There's nobody here.
I'm just saying, like.
So was that so scary?
A little bit. A little bit.
Love you.
Love you too. Not today, old friend. Not today. We're all on your lawn. You wouldn't like that. I was worried about hugs. You're goddamn right I am. So, you can only play it on PC? Okay, well, I'm sorry. Well, you might be able to play it on mobile. But anyways, wow, thank you, Maddie. Guys, all this stuff was really cool tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Everyone's going to log off to go play the Clyde game. That would be hilarious. So you get Worski to play. Hey, we get Darkside Phil to play it one night. That would be the fine thing. That might be a game he can do. I don't think he'll quit that game. Should be able to play on mobile now. Nice. Next time we'll see the paparazzi gift. Yes. He would wage quit that one. Yeah. He might. He might not, though. Yes, I bought the domain name when I realized you used a Gmail instead of potentiallycriminal.com. Well, thank you, Dolly. I appreciate that, man. I mean, when I first started doing this, I bought a $50 camera, and then I bought not this microphone, but a toner microphone that was on sale for like $50. And I was like, I'm not going to put a lot of money into something if I'm just doing this for funds. And then I kind of forgot about doing that. So, yes, Phil is off tonight, but still, Phil would still wage quit. Yes, I know. That would be hilarious. Elda Gusto says, did someone threaten to show up? No. No, but I was concerned the way it was being read, somebody was showing up. Whew. Ooh, yes, you can play it on mobile now. Yes, Maddie is MVP. Maddie B, thank you so very much, man. That is, I'm going to have to go explore the whole thing here. So, yes. And that, as I say, Maddie, that's really talented. If you don't do that for, like, if you don't get paid to do that, you should really look into doing that, because that was really good. The next game is Spider Smasher. Oh, see, I was wondering what, the whole sandwich stacking thing makes sense now. I didn't know what that was all for earlier. So, I get it now. I get it now. I'm holding help out, and Maddie's outside waiting in the bushes. Well, so real quick, Unhung Hero says, "Happy birthday, Sean." KRM says, I was 14. It was 88. I loved watching HH. Unhung Hero says he puts the goo in the box. Dolly Talk says the box cutter fund. Mr. Squiggle's been a member for 34 months, says Clyde. Yep. Power Windows. It's been a member for 21 months. I don't think I recognize that name, but I know YouTube's like being weird with the names right now. You better not turn out to be a Mudahar. No, I really am an attorney, guys. I promise. I promise I'm not a Mudahar. I'm not an engineer and then not really an engineer. All right, guys. All right. You want this man hugged? Well, that's over my dead body. All right, let's get going, chat. It is time. We are burning daylight. And actually, I was going to say, I don't know about you guys, but for here, it was actually very nice today. We had really nice weather. It was still kind of like hot, but like tonight, it's been that nice kind of like September, that September or early June weather where you can have the windows open and stuff. So I'm not brown enough to be Muda. Well, I don't know. Remember that antisocial, somebody in the pretty antisocial chat thought I was Indian. So I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, he redeemed that engineering card. Yeah. So it wasn't 100 here today. So we were all good. All right. So let's do this, chat. I guess first things first, I'm going to start off with a little bit of LeBron James or Jabron Lames, however you wish to phrase it. There have been some, with the advent of AI, there have been some hilarious things going on with LeBron. And I think this is a funny one. Oh, the Ali verdict was today? Oh, the attempted honor killing thing? Yeah. That one was crazy. That case, so we didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I think that would be a fun one to watch. It's 12 days, so we'll have some time here coming up. After Tuesday, I have a small trial starting on Monday, so we should be. I got a trial on Monday, so it depends on how things go. Maybe we will do a local show or not, but after Tuesday, we'll be good to go. So, let's see here. Would you say there's good train watching weather today? No. But anyways, it's LeBron James. If you guys have seen before, like there's been stuff like this is not real, this is AI'd. You guys could tell like his fingers and then the way like the stuff is set up in the room, it doesn't make sense. Like there's no like how do you like you can't see anything. It looks like that's the reflection back there. There's extra fingers. It doesn't appear in a reflection of a mirror behind him. Like there's all kinds of stuff here that doesn't work. It's pretty obvious to tell. And then some people have been making videos of LeBron who's pregnant with AI.
Hurry, come quick. Our baby is being born.
And that's him and Steph Curry having a baby.
LeBron, why does this baby look like James Harden? He's got a full beard already.
So that's one of them. Pretty funny. Here's some other ones.
Twins. Yeah, twins. There's two of them. Nah, still 3 months left, but I feel great. Ready to play. Twins. Yeah,
so
twins. There's two.
This was done. There's a guy, he was setting up a YouTube that's just for AI, which I think is kind of an interesting hellscape. But there have been multiple pictures of LeBron pregnant.
Call my lawyer and tell him to sue everyone making fake videos where I'm pregnant, and call my doctor because I think my water just broke. Call my.
And that's what's happening. LeBron is sending out cease and desist letters.
So excited for.
Although this is the best one. This is the most hilarious one of all.
So excited for everyone to meet the newest member of the USA Dream Team, Donald Vance James. Make pregnancy great again.
So there you go. So what's gone? Yeah. This is cursed but pretty funny. Yes, they are. Very cursed but very funny. Am I going to cover the CoffeeZilla Logan Paul lawsuit? Yes, at some point I will. I think I've covered a little bit of it, but yeah, I heard there's a bunch of shit dropped in it. So yeah, I'll take a look at that. But anyways, is LeBron denying the fact that black men can bear children? I don't know. I think it's very transphobic of LeBron. But since that's happened, chat, yes, LeBron James has allegedly sent out cease and desist letters to an AI video company. Now, here's the problem. You have to be very careful because this guy who's pushing the cease and desist letter hasn't shown the full letter. Okay? He hasn't shown the full letter to the AI company because that makes me worried. Did it actually happen or is this all publicity stunt? We don't know for sure, but there's all kinds of videos like LeBron James as a mermaid. You know, like there's all kinds of stuff.
What do they got? A lot of sun. We got a sea under the sea. Under the sea.
So there you go. That's LeBron's being under the sea. Now, the Interlink is the company. On their Discord server, we're learning how to create AI videos of LeBron James so they can put them on TikTok. However, in June, the mods were told they had to remove all realistic people models from the AI platform. And they said this change come after we ran the legal issues involving a highly valued basketball player. And to avoid any further complications, we've chosen to take a proactive approach and fully remove all realistic likeness from the site. And I mean, that is one way to do it. But it all depends what you're doing. Is that person going to start... Sorry, chat. There, your screen is up. Okay. There. So, anyways, this is LeBron as a mermaid. Now, do you really think LeBron's a mermaid? Do you really think he's endorsing The Little Mermaid? Do you think he's really endorsing the song Under the Sea? That where it's not. It's clearly not here. But anyways, the Interlink AI on their Discord, they were told you can't do it anymore. This is from Dexerto. They're saying they confirmed with Jason Stacks, the founder of Interlink, that the basketball player in question was LeBron James. He also shared the news in a post on Instagram. I don't think this is I'd love to see this actually be true, but we don't get to see the whole thing here. So this is part of the issue because you can't trust it.
Wait, let me back up. Hi, I'm Jason. 2 months ago, I launched the YouTube of AI video. It was a fun idea to help creators make some more money. But then people started noticing, really noticing, including this guy. Yeah, the LeBron James. And apparently he wasn't happy because I got this cease and desist from his team. LeBron, if you're watching this, let's squash the beef, bro. Please. I'm so
See, I don't know if that's true or not because we can't watch it and we can't read it. So, and this isn't the first time it happened. YouTuber Marquez Brownlee called a company scummy for using his likeness for ads without its permission. And if they're using it for ads, yeah, that can be that is an issue, using in people's name, image, and likeness. But if people are really just making goofy videos of LeBron being pregnant, that's not really a problem. But if they're all with the come to Interlinked and you can ship out you can ship LeBron and Shrek together. Okay, well, yeah, that can be an issue. That can be a problem. So, it's a merman. Says, okay, so we're reporting on a lie. I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. Yes, mermaid LeBrons lay eggs, don't get pregnant. Yes, that's the thing. Shrek is also jacked. But I mean, if this is really just does anybody really think
for everyone to meet?
Does anybody really think that LeBron was pregnant and that he looked like this? No. There's no issue of being confused. You know, even people having galaxy gas will be able to tell this is not real.
The newest member of the USA Dream Team, Donald Vance James. Make pregnancy great.
Even you get where I'm going with that, chat. But anyways, that is yes, this is pretty good. LeBron's bald enough, yes. Now, I mean, there could be things here. There could be things here. It really could. We don't know for sure. We don't know exactly what happened here, but it could be. Is all publicity stunt too? I don't know. But this does raise issues about AI, that it's not cut and dried. It's not merely a landscape where you can just do what you want, even if you're not making money. Remember, chat, just because it's not commercial doesn't mean you're invincible from it. No matter how many, federal district courts you cite or find, and if it's only just one, you've got one out of 622. So what do you really have? Just something to think about. Just something to think about up there, chat. A little bit light there, but it's a very funny one to start off with. Yes. Oh, but yes, very funny nonetheless. All right, guys, moving on from there, there are some interesting things with the Karen Reed case. If you guys were not aware, there have been some updates and stuff. Just yesterday, a very interesting thing hit the docket of the court. Hank Brennan, the bravest of the brave. Napoleon may have called Marshall Ney the bravest of the brave, but truly the bravest of the brave was the great Hank Brennan. I love how when he does the undersigned and his e-filings, he uses like a cursive font. Like, that is so cringe. But the undersigned moves to withdraw from the above docketed matter. The undersigned's position as special prosecutor has concluded. You've been BTFO'd, Hank. BTFO'd. Yes, you are done. You've lost. Oh no, chat. Oh no, chat. Now, what's that symbol at the Hank is taking the money and going home. Yeah. Yep. And that's the funny thing here, chat. Ultimately, when I saw this, motion to withdraw. We all screw up, chat. You'll miscaption things or you'll do typos. So I'm really not going to dog him on that because we all fuck up. We all fuck up. We've all been there. So, or sometimes you even put in the wrong defendant's name. That happens all the time. People, like, a lot of attorneys do that at one point or another in their life. And then you always make sure you don't, but ever again. But it does happen. It does happen sometimes. Oh. Another thing for Karen Reed, and this one's going to get interesting. She is seeking an order to return her property. And notice, this is still in the criminal case. But it's been filed by one of her attorneys, Stephen Buzang, who I believe is doing her stuff in the civil case. Now, they're asking, pursuant to Court Rule 61, that they order the return of all of her personal property, including but not limited to the following items. Her car, which she still had to make payments on. She still had to make payments on her car, despite the fact that it's been stuck in police custody and she couldn't ever use it. So it's really kind of a shitty thing that they've done to her, and they won't give her car back. And then her cell phone. Remember, they took her phone and they haven't given it back yet. It's been a while now. It's been over a month. Give her shit back. And they say, as reason, therefore, counsel attempted to negotiate the return of illicit property with ADA Adam Lally in late June, as the property is in the possession and custody and control of the Massachusetts State Police, and they have not heard back from Lally. Well, remember what we learned from the case already that we watched with the Miles King in his trial for murder. Adam Lally doesn't do shit. Adam Lally doesn't do shit on those cases. Morris, who's asked about it, he said no comment. That's not a surprise. If it's left to Adam Lally, it's going to be a couple of years. And the other big thing is, too, for Karen Reed, her car, there's probably going to be a Fifth Amendment issue here because, remember, they gutted the infotainment system, that stuff out of the middle of the car. Remember, they had Shannon Burgess, that fucking hillbilly, digging through parts and pieces of her car. Is that car even operational? We don't know. We don't know what they tore apart at this point. And all the different key cycles and what they've used. How much of that data did they hoover off that car? I don't know. And the thing about Karen's phone, I would never touch that phone again if I'm Karen, because God knows they put something on that phone. But I always tell clients that, like, you get your phone back, you should get a new phone. You can't trust that phone anymore. Phone's been compromised. But she has the right to have her shit back. And honestly, if Karen wanted to make money, I think selling this car, holy shit, I bet there'd be somebody out there willing to pay her value for it. Remember, it's had low mileage. It hasn't been used since 2022. So it's very, very low mileage at this point. But yeah, we won't know. We know they destroyed the infotainment center. Burgess testified to it. Yeah, but I mean, like, her personal property has not just been examined, but it was destroyed. And that becomes a Fifth Amendment issue. Her property was taken without due process. The government has an obligation to safekeep property that it takes from you. So they're asking the court for immediate return. I'm sure Bev is going to get right the fuck on this just because she's a dumb bitch. I'm sure she won't. I'm sure she's really going to get on top of that. I'm sure she's going to get right on top of that. Probably won't, chat. Yeah, low mileage has really fast and reversed. Garrett Pace says, yeah, also just needs a replacement tail light. Edward Scott says you take the phone directly into a forensic expert to find out what they did on it. To an extent you can, but you might not. They might have put something on there. Who knows? Who knows what they did to it? Will her insurance company fix all the shit on it? No. No, I don't think they'll total it, but I mean, I don't know if they're going to cover it. They'll deny coverage, I bet. So I wonder if ARCA has any taillights left over. That would be funny. And yes, I bet they also took the catalytic converter. If she drove it out of there, would they pull her over for a broken taillight? Maybe. Oh. And then additionally, chat, there's been a final thing going forward here to get the sidebar conferences unimpounded. So they want relief from the order impounding the sidebars. And, you know, that's actually a good thing. We need to know what happened there. And they want to release the transcripts of the sidebar conferences that occurred during the two trials. And they say there's good cause and no longer exists. And that's true. Trials are over. And they say back in April 2024, the Commonwealth filed a motion in limine for appointment of court stenographer, ongoing order to impound all the conferences, and impoundment of juror names during trial. Well, you know what? The juror names are never going to get released. So we can immediately just say, yeah, we don't care about that one. Cross that out. We don't care. Just give us the sidebars as long as they're something we can talk about. The Commonwealth sought the impoundment of all sidebar discussions, including pre-trial proceedings, and that sidebar discussions and juror names be unavailable until a verdict is returned. And oh no, if they really wrote it like that, well, we're here. And the rationale was the publication of matters discussed at sidebar, and information and potentially sensitive responses to inquiry while the trial is ongoing could prejudice the parties and expose jurors to extraneous matters. Sure. Saying its motion, the Commonwealth noted after a verdict is returned, the potential prejudice will be greatly lessened. It'll be non-existent. Then all parts of the record, except any that the court specifically finds subject to further impoundment for good cause, would then be made available. I'm sure Bev is going to find they're all impounded. So the legal standard and impoundment means being sealed, chat. I should have said that a little earlier. Rule 7 of the rules of sealing or impoundment provide that a judge evaluating the motion may enter an order of impoundment only if good cause to withhold the documents from the public is shown. To determine this, the judge must balance the rights of the parties based on the particular facts of each case. And this is a Supreme Court case. They cite Nixon versus Warner Communications. A very good case. And it says the decision to grant access to court documents is left in the sound discretion of the trial court to be exercised in light of the relevant facts and circumstances in the particular case. And it's true. So they say in making the good cause determination, a judge must balance the interest of publicity and the defendant's right to a fair trial. Well, we're done. We're done. No more fair trial. Worried about it all, despite Bev's attempts to screw with it. And if there is good cause, the judge is required to tailor the scope so it doesn't exceed, so that it does not exceed the need for impoundment. Say once entered, an impoundment order remains an interlocutory order, subject to the continued existence of good cause. They say, unlike other orders and judgments, an impoundment order carries no continuing presumption of validity to sustain against a proper challenge. A party seeking the release of impounded court records does not bear the burden of demonstrating either that there's been a change in circumstances or whatever good cause may once have justified their impoundment no longer exists. The burden solely lies with the party urging their continued impoundment, and that's fair. Should be. It's your expectation to explain why the status quo or what we normally do should not be upheld. And they say, once a reason challenging is before the court, the obligation of the motion judge is to apply the balancing test used to determine whether or not this will happen, whether or not they would grant it in the first instance. Well, you know what? Bev's she's not gonna comply. She's gonna do whatever she wants. Now, here's some arguments that Karen Reed's attorneys bring up. The good cause no longer exists, and because access to those materials is necessary for trial preparation. Remember, Karen Reed has a civil trial coming up, and the impounded material should be released at a minimum to the party, saying, fine, just give them to us. We still need to look at things. There's information I'm sure Alan Jackson and David Yannetti have told Karen's civil team, if they're already not part of it, but have been advising them and helping them get things sorted out so they know what's going on and what's been said. Because otherwise, Karen's really left in the lurch. So they say, they talk about the court issued a separate order of impoundment on the list of jurors for the second trial and extended that order on June 26th. And that's true. In accordance with these orders, the identities of the jurors of both trials remain sealed. And, that makes sense. And it says that aspect remains unchallenged here. We're not going after it. The juror identities issue was subsequently addressed by the court. Karen only seeks the release of the sidebar discussions that took place during trial and those that addressed evidentiary rulings prior to trial because the good cause the court recognized no longer exists. It says, really, the Commonwealth is concerned the release could expose jurors to extraneous matters. And it says, however, now that it's over, the issue is moot. And it says, after the Commonwealth noted, after the verdict's returned, the potential prejudice to the parties is greatly lessened. Very true. Once again, yes, they're not lying. They're actually telling you the truth for once, chat. To the parties will be greatly lessened. They say, with regard to sidebar conversations, however, good cause no longer exists for impoundment. Such discussions should be part of the public record, and they should be. And remember, they're saying, we don't care about the jurors. Do whatever you want with the juror transcripts. We're not asking for them. And now they talk about the balancing of the public's right to inspect documents against the defendant's rights guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment. Notice they're not talking about the prosecution, just the defendant. Remember, only one side has the right to a fair trial. And they said at this juncture, there are a few aspects of the case that have not been explored in depth publicly. And it says, in fact, in its determination to continue the order of impoundment regarding identities, the court noted this case has garnered significant and divisive attention in Massachusetts and across the nation. And in other words, virtually every issue in the case, especially following completed trial, has already been disclosed. They talk about another factor is the nature of the documents under impoundment. Karen only wants the sidebar conferences. And to the extent deliberating jurors could have been exposed to extraneous information, The Commonwealth referenced in its motion that the concern ended with jurors' service in the second trial. Yeah. There are very few, if any, privacy interests impacted here. I mean, they are. It's evidence in Sidebar discussions. And they say, though Karen does not bear the burden of establishing that good cause no longer exists, it is apparent that any good cause that did exist during the trial for the conversations is no longer present. The factors the court must consider in determining whether it's order are all gone. So they want that done, and we'll see what happens here. And yes, these are Karen's civil attorneys getting ready to go to bat for her. So yeah, they want all the information, chat. They want all the information. Bush says, wait a minute, could the Commonwealth seal the sidebars? The judge sealed the sidebars. The judge sealed the transcripts. So not the Commonwealth, but the judge did. So yeah, she can do that. She can do that if she wants to. I mean, she's the judge. I mean, I'm not saying like that's an excuse for her to do whatever she wants, but it kind of is. Kind of is. So. Can a civil defense attorney bring in evidence from the two criminal trials? Yes, as long as it's relevant. As long as you remember, you have to satisfy the relevancy test. Is it relevant? And then when you get to a civil trial, the probative value versus the prejudicial effect is going to be a different assessment because you're no longer in a criminal trial. So all kinds of stuff might be able to come in that wasn't able to come in before, or attorneys decline to bring in, depending on their strategies. So yes, a lot of stuff can be brought in now. Is there any legit reason to keep them impounded anymore? No. Not that I could think of. So, yes. Bev is in bed with the Alberts. Changed my mind. It doesn't surprise me if she is. So, doesn't surprise me if she is. So, we will see. We will see what she does. We'll see if Bev has integrity after all. I'm not holding out hope. I am not holding out hope. So, now this one, guys, we're just going to go through this real quick. This is an AI case that we're going to move on to from here. And it's very, very, very interesting that with these AI cases we're starting to see in court, it's not millennials, millennial attorneys and even some Gen Z attorneys who are using AI. No, it's the boomers. It's boomer attorneys that are relying heavily on AI and doing some of the dumbest crap imaginable. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And this is a great example of some boomers really, really screwing this up. And this one is, oh man, this is a very interesting one. I thought was very worthwhile to take a look at here, you guys. This one is just mwah. So this is down in Florida, La Florida. And it's a bunch of different cases that were consolidated together. So notice they've got the same Bioplanet International, but they've got different defendants, but it's the same plaintiffs, except in one of these cases, it's Richard O'Shea. We don't have to really worry about who these people are. But this is the order. And this is an order from the court. And it starts off with a Scalia quote. And it says, the integrity of judicial proceedings depends on the ethical obligations of candor and honesty being strictly observed by all parties. And it cites Lightkey versus United States, 1994 case. And it says two things. The above statement is absolutely correct. And second, the great Justice Antonin Scalia did not write this opinion anywhere in his opinion of the court in Lightkey. A quick review of U.S. reports confirms that. But ChatGPT, with the slick, cool authority of instantly generated pixels on a screen, declares otherwise. Artificial intelligence, indeed. Oh, oh no, chat. The judge is coming out swinging. It talks about the proliferation of AI tools present a challenge to the legal profession. Lawyers have duties to their clients in the courts to present accurate facts and citations to legal authority. When lawyers present false information to a court, that lawyer violates his duties. This case presents an important issue. Unfortunately, one that's occurring more often. Yeah. What sanctions should you impose on a lawyer who repeatedly uses false, fake, non-existent AI-generated legal authorities and the drafting of complaints, motions, and filings? And it says here, plaintiff's counsel regurgitated such hallucinated authority in 8 separate but related cases. 4 of these are before the court. After considering the factual record and the threat this rampant conduct poses, the court imposes substantial sanctions. Okay, and notice the court says, ChatGPT, response to query, Scalia quotes on candor. So the court did this as a joke, but the court did a meme, chat. They did the meme. And it says artificial intelligence. And it talks about during a bygone era when dinosaurs roamed the earth and the undersigned judge was in law school, 1998. And this is chat. This is the thing with law school. They teach you how to use the books, but you never have to rely on them. I've only cracked open a law book a handful of times. Everything is done here on the computer. To research a case, a student often had to hold a volume of legal reporters in one hand. And they say to ensure the cases were good law, students and attorneys employed services like Shepard's Citations. And Shepard's was a firm, an organization that made sure your stuff was up to date. And it was cited authority. It was valid authority. It hadn't been overruled. It hadn't been abrogated by statute. You know, there were dissenting opinions on it, that it was held in good favor. Or maybe it was like, meh, there's some bad authority, or there's some iffy authority. But that's why if you guys ever use Lexis, you'll hear about shepherdizing. And even really just generalizing at attorneys say shepherdizing your sources and citations, just making sure they're still valid. And they said, but even in that dark pre-modern age, stars arose in the distance, like Westlaw and LexisNexis. They came forth to aid lawyers performing legal research. You didn't have to be Steve Wozniak to understand these electronic advancements would revolutionize the practice of law. Gone were the days of spending hours in libraries manually searching for a case and shepherdizing to see every case which cited it. And that's how you had to do it. They say now another star rises, AI. With the potential to revolutionize the legal field, once again, we are told that AI has the potential to perform hours of research on any topic in seconds. Large language models like ChatGPT offer the promise to employ AI to perform legal research and draft filings, such as briefs and complaints. Not a good idea. However, AI is not yet a match for an actual litigator. Employing the euphemism du jour, AI regularly hallucinates entire cases and hallucinates quotations from real cases. And it does. We've talked about these a couple of times before. And it says that means when a lawyer asks AI to generate legal research and briefs, it may lead to fake cases or false quotations. This is the current particular risk of using AI. But the lawyer who uses AI blindly also harms others. The opposing party wastes time and money exposing the deception. The court's time is taken from important things. The client may be deprived of arguments based on authentic precedent. There is harm to the reputation of judges whose names are falsely invoked as authors of bogus opinions, and that happens. To the reputation of a party attributed with fictional conduct. There's even a case where the court didn't realize it was a bullshit thing that was cited, and it got into an appellate opinion saying, like, the appellate court had to stop and say, wait, this is a bullshit case. And it got all the way through the trial court. Like, this is a problem, this AI stuff. And I don't know if they're ever going to be able to fix it. Because like these LLMs are already like so engorged with bad information. You know, there's potential harm to the, they talk about this here. It says It promotes cynicism about the legal profession. Yeah, it does. And the American judicial system. And a future litigant may be tempted to defy a ruling by claiming doubt about its authenticity. Yeah. And remember, this is the Mata v. Avianca case out of the Southern District of New York. We talked about this before. I think Layback Law talked about it. But anyways, they say a lawyer who uses AI ethically must ensure the legal propositions are trustworthy. The lawyer's duty to check all cases and quotations for accuracy. You do. Anything less is to abdicate one's duty, waste legal resources, and lower the public's respect for the profession in judicial proceedings. Yep. Now, this is interesting here. So, in March of 2025, James Martin Paul Esquire, counsel for the plaintiffs, and this case and 4 other cases filed in Florida courts, repeatedly used AI to hallucinate cases in his filings. Indeed, Paul admitted to using AI and not checking its outputs. Oof. On March 12th, he filed a complaint in the Circuit Court of the 17th Judicial Circuit for Broward County on behalf of a guy named Richard O'Shea. In the complaint, Paul used AI to generate 2 hallucinated cases. On March 13th, he filed a complaint in the another Broward County case on behalf of another company, Debt Dynamics. It generated 2 hallucinated cases. In other filings, he used AI to generate hallucinated cases, quotations, or parentheticals 4 other times. They say on April 1st, he also filed a complaint in the Southern District of Florida in federal court. And on April 4th, he filed a complaint in the Southern District of Florida. On that same day, the defendant removed a case filed by a guy in state court to the Southern District of Florida. So one of his state court cases got removed to federal court, which can happen. Paul used AI to generate cases in the 3rd federal case complaint. They say, as a brief example, he cites a case, Merrill Lynch versus Hagerty, for the proposition that breach of contract occurs when parties fail to perform their obligations, leading to damages. That is the breach of contract. That is a breach of contract. That is a very basic bitch definition, and it works. It's true. It's correct. But they're saying just like the Scalia quote, the case does not exist. The citation leads to a different case. To this court's knowledge, none of the authorities cited in the complaints in the 1st and 2nd federal cases were hallucinated. However, the guy admits that he used AI to draft the complaint in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd federal cases. Oof. The court only became aware after the June 17th show cause hearing, and they were unable to inquire whether he used AI in drafting the complaint for the 4th case. When asked about when asked at the hearing about other cases in which he used AI, Paul did not name this case, instead stating off the top of his head there were at least 5 in which he used AI. Oh man. Oh no. So they moved to dismiss the complaint, claiming that they failed to correctly reference any case in the complaint. Once that happened, once they were put on notice back in April, that they failed to reference any case in the complaint correctly. Notice this is underlined. This is never good. From this moment on, there can be no reasonable doubt that he was on notice his use of AI was leading to hallucinated cases and quotations. And the court says, you don't deny that you're on notice, right? And he says, that is correct. He agrees. On May 5th, in his motion, in response to the motion to dismiss, he cited a case, Smith versus J.P. Morgan, for the proposition courts do not dismiss claims over miscitations or citation errors. That's correct. You can miscite something. It's not the end of the world. However, this does not exist. It leads to a different case in a different state, in a different circuit. He also cited a case, Hood versus Tompkins. And he says it's a real case for the proposition that Rule 11 sanctions require bad faith, not clerical error. So he cited a real case, but once again, however, this quote does not appear anywhere in Hood, and the case does not discuss whether clerical errors are sufficient for Rule 11 sanctions, nor does it discuss bad faith. Again, they note his numerous citations to hallucinated cases. And while this was going on, he filed an appeal to the 4th District Court of Appeal in Florida. In that appeal, he used, again, AI cases. He cited the same hallucinated cases in his initial brief. On May 9th, at another court, he filed a motion for protective orders, in which he cited 3 more hallucinated cases. In that same case, 1 week later, Paul used AI to generate hallucinated cases in time for response for a motion for sanctions for the failure to appear at a scheduled deposition, his client. I'm sorry, the defendant. So the defendant failed to show up, and he filed a motion for sanctions, and he used AI in that. Oof. Oof, 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 oof. The second federal case, there was a motion filed to dismiss the complaint. The next day, and notice they say the next day, 13 days before the response was due. And when did they bring this up? Because the guy says he had time constraints, and they're saying that was demonstrably false. It was filed 13 days before the deadline. He filed a response which included AI-generated quotations in a hallucinated case. Right after that, they replied and noted that he had done this again. In his first federal case, they moved to dismiss. Just 2 days later, 12 days before the response was due, this guy filed a response which he cited these cases. They say on May 29th, the same day the court ordered show cause, there was a motion to reopen the case in which he fabricated a quote from a real case. And then on June 10th, in response to the order to show cause regarding the use of the AI cases, he fabricated 2 quotations to real cases. I just love this guy. You're being accused of using AI wrong, and he keeps on using AI. Like a real boomer, no, I've got this right. No, I've got this right. What a true boomer move. This is a true boomer move here, chat. True boomer move. Will this be considered legal malpractice? 100%. I think so. And his malpractice carrier probably won't cover it. I don't know. Like, this guy is like, this is ridiculous. And then on June 17th, the court held a show cause hearing for the repeated use of the AI. At the hearing, Paul admitted that he and a paralegal used AI drafting procedures, specifically ChatGPT. Paul stated he would assign his legal with drafting pleadings and briefs, which he would tweak. Paul relied on the paralegal for checking the assertions and case law in the filings and assumed they were proper, but he did not do any due diligence himself to check or correct citations. And guys, when you sign on the line as an attorney, you're saying it's all good. My paralegal messed up. You know what the court says? You hired them. It's your fault. Paul stated at the hearing the majority of some of the citations came from AI-generated software, and they were never checked. Jesus Christ, man. He claimed the last time that he used it was mid-May, although it's clear he used it later. He stated he took full accountability for his actions, and they were not in bad faith. This court disagrees. What happened here constitutes abuse of bad faith conduct that cannot be recognized as legitimate legal practice. Now, they talk about Rule 11. And Rule 11 is what you can use for sanctions for frivolous motions and improper conduct. And you're supposed to use it before turning to your inherent powers of sanction. Sanctions are reviewed for abuse of discretion, but Rule 11 sanctions are viewed with particular stringency. I mean, they're really going to check it out. And Rule 11 talks about representations of the court. And when you sign a pleading, by signing, filing, submitting, or later advocating, you are certifying to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief formed after an inquiry reasonable that the claims and defenses are non-frivolous and that everything in it is correct. And they say, on its own initiative, a court can impose an appropriate sanction on any attorney who violates Rule 11. Now, what happens? Well, did a party file a pleading that has no reasonable basis? Did they file a pleading that's based on a legal theory that has no reasonable chance of success and cannot be advanced as a reasonable argument to change existing case law, which sometimes you'll make the argument, Your Honor, look, the case law is not in our favor, but you should say, fuck that, I'm going to go out and agree with you. Because sometimes that's how case law gets made. And the parties are pleading in a bad faith for an improper purpose. So how does this work, though? The court has to employ a show cause order. There's a higher standard akin to contempt to do that because you're not dealing with party-initiated sanctions. The court's doing it on its own. And I say the 11th Circuit has not elaborated on this akin to contempt standard, but they're pointing out that it necessitates a finding of subjective bad faith. But they have upheld sanctions when an attorney factually and legally inaccurate writ of execution where no judgment had been entered. So yeah, it's yeah. And then it says sanctions ought to be effective deterrents that prevent repetition of the punished conduct. Yeah. Yeah, and they talk about courts' inherent powers. Courts have inherent powers to manage their own affairs, to achieve orderly and expeditious dispositions. To exercise the power to impose sanctions, a court find the party must have acted in bad faith. The standard can be met if the attorney's conduct so egregious it would only be committed in bad faith. And while reckless alone isn't enough, a filing that's reckless and frivolous can. And bad faith exists when the court finds a fraud has been practiced on it, or that the very temple of justice has been defiled, or where a party or attorney knowingly or recklessly raises a frivolous argument, delays or disrupts litigation, or hampers the enforcement of a court order. And when the court uses this inherent power, there must be a direct causal link between the conduct and the resulting cost. They say sanctions are compensatory, not punitive. They talk about Florida's local rules. And yes, you are subject to disciplinary authority of this court and its agencies under this rule. And you're charged with notice and held to know the provisions of this rule and the standards of ethical professional conduct prescribed by this court. So this is true for every court. You're on notice that you have to follow our rules. And not only that, you have the Florida rules of professional conduct. That you shall not engage in a misrepresentation to a court. Remember, guys, a duty of candor. If you have a lack of condors, you're gonna have a rough day. So sanctions pursuant to the local rules can be disbarment, suspension, reprimand, meaning they just put a thing out saying bad boy. Monetary sanctions removed from the court's roster of eligible attorneys to practice before this court, or any other sanction the court may deem appropriate. Now, the Southern District you're not allowed to practice before the court. They can't disbar you. They can't take your law license away. They would tell the state of Florida, or if you pro hoc vacate in from another state, they would tell that state who has your license, hey, you need to discipline this guy. They can discipline you for like sanctions and stuff, but ultimately a true disbarment is going to come from another court, another governing entity, but they can do a lot of this other stuff and punish you for it. And so they talk about the sanctions here, and it says attorneys can face sanctions for engaging in practices that unnecessarily delay or increase the complexity of litigation. So they talk about the discussions here, and they say sanctions are warranted for this guy's behavior. Now, they put this out here, and they start talking about the Rule 11 issue. So this is a very interesting case or quote that's out here. Attorneys using AI tools without checking on the accuracy of their output are responsible for the consequences of incorporating inaccurate information into their work product. And it's true. And this is a practice of law and in a law review article. And it's pointing out, like, yeah, you have to. And the court finds that he engaged in bad faith for two reasons. First, despite being on notice, the use of AI was not working, he continued to make submissions to the court. And then second, he admitted that he solely relied upon a paralegal, a non-lawyer, to draft filings to the court and did not review the work. It's going to get you every time. And then Paul was on notice his use of AI resulted in hallucinated cases back in April, and yet he submitted 7 filings to this court and other courts after this date that kept having fabricated cases. And I say, even if the initial use of AI was reasonable, and the court says there's no basis to conclude that it was, his subsequent use to generate cases was intentional, constituting an improper purpose. Yeah, it sounds like he's saying, fuck you. And the attorney was aware. Additionally, he was not candid when confronted about his use of AI, stating that some of the documents were prepared under time constraints when he had nearly 2 more weeks before the deadlines. They say from an objective standard, he intentionally submitted these cases while knowing his use of these was improper. His actions were clearly sanctionable. So what are they going to do here? What are they going to do here? Well, once again, they talk about relying on a paralegal and non-lawyer. You can't do that. It's on you as the attorney. They say the drafting, preparing, or filing of pleadings on behalf of another constitutes a practice of law and may not be engaged in by a non-lawyer unless it's under your supervision. It's under your supervision, and he wasn't supervising. And it says the 11th Circuit, remember, Florida's in the 11th Circuit, does not lightly regard the duty of an attorney to prepare a case properly and to give the issues full consideration before preparing pleadings. By relying on his paralegal exclusively, he abandoned his principles as a member of the Florida bar. And that's not a good look, chat. Court is pissed off right now at him. So, a job well done says 2 more weeks, trust the plan. Where we go one, we go all. Mostoyas is saying, how would you continue on as a lawyer after embarrassing yourself so badly? People have short memories. After he gets disciplined, he'll come back. Like, people will keep using it. So, you're stealing chat EBT and will not be crediting me. Yes. As long as you get my Selma, I'll be complacent. Yes. Can they treat these LLM abusers like pro se litigants? Get ready for this. It's gonna be he gets some ass whooping here. So since the cases were merged, how much has it hurt everybody? Well, it's a merged order by the court. So this is pretty bad. Aman Rez says, I get it being efficient. Aman Rezu says, I get being efficient, but not checking the cases is crazy. I agree. That is so fucking crazy not to check cases. Not even just like firing up your fucking Lexus is just boop, 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 done. Does it show up? Yes. Just making sure they're there. This guy is crazy. And simply put, he did not act as a reasonable attorney, not even close. Reasonable attorneys do not rely on AI filings. A reasonable attorney, when made aware of this, immediately changes course. A reasonable attorney does not rely on a paralegal to draft the filing. You'd be surprised how many attorneys do. The conclusion that he failed to act as a reasonable attorney is unfortunate but undeniable. He acted in bad faith for an improper purpose. And they say further, the sanctions in the order in this case would deter improper conduct. Well, the use of AI itself is not suspect. Wholesale reliance without inquiry or diligence by lawyers, conduct which a court should deter. as lawyers always must conduct a reasonable inquiry. You have to. And they say strong sanctions against the undiligent, unverified use of AI will deter other lawyers from blindly relying on it and on paralegals for drafting this. So we move on here to what's the court doing, the inherent sanction powers. And once again, they talk about that he was on notice of this. He should have known. And it says, to paraphrase the Supreme Court, this conduct defiles the temple of justice and brings disrepute to the practice of law. And it says, further, the bad faith citation of non-existent authority serves only to foster extensive and needless satellite litigation. Yes, now we're having to argue over separate issues. Now, what do they talk about for sanctions? The court believes dismissal of the case is appropriate here because, as Paul admitted, he's using AI to generate various complaints, which contain allegations a court must take as true for purposes of evaluating the Rule 12 dismissals. Remember, chat, the court has to believe everything in the complaint is true. And then can you grant relief? The court is concerned the underlying factual allegations may have been hallucinated or unverified as well. Considering Paul used AI in drafting the complaints and could not assure the court unequivocally at the hearing that they contain no fabricated allegations. So even the facts in these, he can't guarantee they're not. Oh, man. Uh-oh. And neither the defendants nor the court should be made to analyze or respond to these allegations that may have been wholly made up by generative AI when the attorney's signature has been affixed to representations that are fake and worthless across so many filings. So, I mean, like, they're going to dismiss this. That is a massive sanction, you guys. We're dismissing your case. So even Russell Greer can't do that. Russell Greer's not fucked up that bad. And they say he didn't act with reasonable diligence. Yeah. And the regulations of the Florida bar state clearly that a lawyer must keep abreast of changes in the law and its practice, including an understanding of the benefits and risks associated with the use of technology, including generative artificial intelligence. And that's from the Florida Register and the Florida Bar saying maintaining competence. And the rules stating you have to know what you're doing. And beyond doubt, why did I say register? Florida rules regulating Florida bar conduct. It says you got to know. Paul did not understand the benefits and risks associated with AI. And this led to repeated bad faith misrepresentations. And they say the monetary sanctions, referral to Florida bar, and required notification are all authorized by our local rules. So they talk about all the things here. And the court says, we live in an age where two things are happening simultaneously. Institutions are central to our republic are suffering from a loss of trust and confidence, correct? And two, technologies developed to a point that few could scarcely imagine even 20 years ago. But that said, at all times, attorneys must ensure their conduct, including use of technology, never contributes to the diminishment of trust and confidence held by the public. Here, attorney Paul fell below that standard because he did so. Numerous parties and court personnel expended resources getting to the bottom of his AI-fueled hallucinations. Perhaps 20 years from now, AI will be flawless. I doubt it. Whenever that day comes, that flawless brief will only have meaning because the signature at the bottom does. And the conclusion, it's ordered in a judge as follows. That the cases and the 4 cases before this court are dismissed without prejudice and without leave to amend. Meaning they're going to have to get refiled. No amendment allowed. Any pending motions are denied as moot. All pending deadlines are terminated. If the plaintiffs choose to refile these cases, the clerk of court is directed to assign the cases or any others back to me. Meaning, I'm going to make sure you're not doing any bullshit. Oh. Pursuant to Rule 11, the attorney is ordered to pay the attorney's fees for defendants' counsel in all 4 cases for all time spent responding to any filings which AI was used to develop the cases, in quotations. And it says here, after review of the defendant's submission for attorney's fees, the court is skeptical that the defendants are entitled to all the fees claimed for each of the 4 cases. Some time spent by the defendants responding to the submissions would have been incurred in these matters, whether or not Paul engaged in misrepresentations. And it says, further, some research into Paul's actions could have been conducted by a paralegal or an associate rather than a partner. So notice the court's saying, like, all right, you fuckers, we're on to you too. They got warned as well. The parties in the cases shall promptly confer and attempt to negotiate in good faith reasonable attorney's fees and cost. They shall file joint notices no later than July 24th, stating whether they've been able to agree. If so, then the payment schedule. The court will then issue any further order as necessary. If the parties under counsel cannot agree on a reasonable amount of fees or costs, they can file separate notices by July 25th stating the nature of the dispute and cost and the respective positions. And the court will determine all of that. They'll determine the amount of attorney's costs to be paid by the defendant to the defendants by the attorney. And then if this guy files any cases in the Southern District of Florida within the next 2 years of this court order, he must attach a copy of this order to his complaint. Meaning if he ever files another lawsuit in the Southern District of Florida, at the end of it, he has to attach and include a notice. I was sanctioned by another judge in this court. He's also referred to the Florida bar for appropriate discipline. Done and ordered. So notice here, though, this is the other thing. Paul represented he would refund his client's fees as to the time spent moving forward on the cases. And because of this, the court does not order him to refund his clients. What the court can do, court could order you to refund the client. Whoa. Wow. That's like wearing a Stein saying I stole something. Yeah. Yeah, guys, it's not good. This is bad. Like, this is just show you how bad AI is getting now. And I know that was a little long, but this is, like, it's getting bad. This is not looking good for, and it's just really funny because these boomers are doing this. These boomers are doing this stuff. And, you're thinking, why are they doing this? It's so stupid for these, once again, it's not like brand new kids doing this. It's it's not clear. It's not clear why these boomers are doing this stuff. So and then from here, Clyde never gave permission for his likeness to be used. Yeah. These boomers don't understand. And then from here, guys, there is a there's another case here where there's just something weird here. Hold on. 2.0 was yelling at the cats. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing my show. There's an even weirder one here, you guys. And this is in Mississippi. And it's not Mississippi burning. It's not that Mississippi. But a federal judge in Mississippi, his ruling contained factual errors that listed plaintiffs who weren't parties to the suit and had incorrect quotes from a state law, referred to cases that didn't exist. And it was issued by a federal judge who issued it pausing the enforcement of a state law that prohibits DEI programs at schools and universities. And the lawyers from the Mississippi Attorney General's office asked the court to clarify, and attorneys for the plaintiffs didn't oppose. And on Wednesday, he replaced the order with a corrected version. It's very, very, very weird. And you can tell there's a difference between these. It's very interesting how this works. So this is what's happening here. And this is, like I said, guys, this stuff is weird. These fucking judges, man, are so damn weird. I don't understand what they're doing. But like everybody's asking, did you use AI on this? And they can show we have, and the funny thing is, we have both copies. We have the replaced order, the fixed order. And the funny thing is now, the old order's gone and the other one had been backdated, it looks like. Which I don't know, you know, that's not legal. That's not legit. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that in these cases. That's not the correct way of handling stuff. That's not the correct way of handling things. Like, we can't tolerate that. We can't tolerate that at all. And as this goes on, the judge has clerks. Yeah, well, somebody really messed up bad. And here's the contrast between these two. So this is the one, the Mississippi Board of Association of Educators. Okay. And this is the original one that was filed. Order granting temporary restraining order. And then you could go to this next one that got filed. And it's already a different, like it's a different font and stuff. And as you go down here, you can look at the differences here. So the amended complaint names the following plaintiffs. All right, so this is the correct one. This was the original one. You're like, what the hell happened with this guy? So that's this is the original. This is the original. All these people here. Okay, all these people. But when you go to the corrected one, they're completely different. Because you see, like, Tougaloo College, Jackson State University, the Stennis Institute of Government at Mississippi State University. You see Mississippi Votes, a nonprofit organization, the Black Student Union at Jackson, Mississippi, at Jackson State University, Spectrum, an LGBTQ organization, a student at Millsaps College, a student at Jackson University, the Mississippi Library Association, and a Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which is a black sorority. Okay. All right. All right. So when you do that, well, what is the corrected one? Completely different fucking people. Completely different people. People from the University of Mississippi School of Law, from the University of Mississippi. The parent of two students in the Jackson Public Schools. A union. A Women in Science and Engineering group at Southern Mississippi. Two third-year law students going to the University of Mississippi Law School, going to Ole Miss, which isn't a bad law school. Like, completely different already. It's completely different. The original order no longer appears on the docket, and nobody can see it anymore. And the attorneys have said, like, this looks like AI was used, although the judge is not answering questions about it. They also include quotations about the lawsuits, but they don't appear in the complaint or the legislation. There's also a 1974 case cited called Cousins versus the School Board City of Norfolk. But however, when you attempt to search for that case, it doesn't exist. This is bad. This is really bad, especially You know, just earlier this month, a federal judge ordered 2 attorneys to pay thousands of dollars in fines after they wrote a court filing. I didn't get to that one, but this one's really bad. This one's really bad, you guys. This, and that's the Mike Lindell My Pillow case. Mike Lindell got sued in Colorado. The parties are meeting to argue about a preliminary injunction. And this guy, he's a boomer. He's 78. He was nominated to the bench when I was born. 1985. And he served as the chief judge in the Southern District from 2003 to 2010, which this right here at 78 tells me, and I bet we could look this up. I forgot to earlier. The Southern District of Mississippi. I'm betting he's senior status. Our judges. Oh, no, it does not look like oh, interesting. He is not a senior judge, chat. He is not a senior judge. If you notice down here, there's other judges who have taken senior status. So that is very interesting. The judge has clerks. He does. He does have clerks. But this guy, buddy, man. See, because when you become a senior judge, you have a diminished caseload, but you still can hear cases. And as long as you have a certain amount, you get to keep your office in the courthouse. But even if you don't, you could still come into court. You're just going to have to like work from home or somewhere else. Although no judges do that. Once you're not keeping your shit, you're done. But you can get senior status. This guy's been around long enough to get senior status. Yeah. I do love this though. It says, please. I love this. I love this comment here. The courtroom rules, and every judge has their own rules. Okay. It says, please provide adequate notice when you require teleconferencing, intend to utilize the court's video displays. And that's true. If you don't, like, when you walk into a courtroom and you know you're going to need to use that stuff, you should always ask ahead of time, how do I use it? Can you set it up for me and help me? Or if you have other presentation technology questions, that is so fucking rich. That is so rich from this guy. That is so. Yeah. Yeah, there we go, chat. That is just chef's kiss, isn't it? The chef's kiss on that. I mean, you're like, how does that work? How does this work? How do these people do this? And I don't know. I don't know how these people do it. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand how they do it. So from here, I mean, just be careful, man. This shit is insane. It's insane. Moving on, we have a P. Diddy update. Diddy is once again seeking bond in his criminal case. And real quick, his attorneys are back at it again. Remember, guys, this is how you file notice with the courts. They are seeking new release. And they're just pointing out, look, he's going to get convicted of the transportation of, women across, people across lines for prostitution. And they're saying there are exceptional circumstances warranting a departure from mandatory detention. And they say that based on the history of the Mann Act, as well as it has been prosecuted over the last several decades, clearly indicate the exceptional, indeed unique nature of this case. And it says these were specifically sex workers to a defendant profiting financially from the businesses of those prostitutions. Notice this is all for Diddy. And any cases that bear similarity to the ones where Diddy was just bringing hookers for himself, the defendants were released pending sentencing. And they say to be released on conditions, 2 conditions must be met. And it says, first, the court must find by clear and convincing evidence that the person is not likely to flee or pose a danger to the safety of anybody. And second, it must be shown that there are exceptional reasons why detention would not be appropriate. And I think that's, they got a good argument. The exceptional reasons. First, the history of the Mann Act has never been applied to facts similar to these or prosecute or incarcerate any other person. And this is unique. They've only done this because Diddy was, having hosed the freak off. It's never, usually you're using the Mann Act because you're pimping women out to make money off of them or men. And they say, second, in similarly situated cases, this one, even though there really isn't anything, everybody else was released pending sentence. And Diddy's been at the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, for the past 11 months. And they say, it's just not clear what's going on here. They point out that, the one case they've been citing, the defendant was a student enrolled in community college. Well, Diddy's not in college. He was employed full-time. Well, Diddy runs all his businesses, and he has no prior convictions. That's correct. Diddy has no other convictions. And they point out that incarcerating a person convicted of paying for sex services to be provided to his girlfriend, as well as the exceptional circumstances facing Diddy at MDC, are truly unique. And far from being routine, the reasons here present unique circumstances. And they said the underlying facts make this weird. And it's true. It's very weird. And I don't know why my mouse keeps catching on things, but it's acting all ridiculous right now. And it's frustrating. Because you're just going along and it goes, meh. And you're like, I didn't want that. And it's like, don't care. Keep moving, fat man. And they say the prosecution and continued incarceration is unique. There has literally never been a case like this one, where a person and his girlfriend arranged, and that's the stuff that came out that Cassie and the other women were involved, arranged for adult men to have consensual relations with the adult's long-term girlfriend as part of a demonstrated swingers lifestyle. And it says Diddy and two of his lifelong girlfriends had a private, intimate. Remember, it was very romantic and very private. I think that's how it was phrased, to remember. That is not uncommon today. Another Ricada dub, chat. It's very common. Change the battery. No, it's got a cord, chat. There's no... And the Mann Act was initially known as the White Slave Trafficking Act, which that's what it used to be called. Attitudes in sex have changed in 115 years, and that's correct. Passed in 1910. It's worth noting the Mann Act was passed, the morals and decency of America's women. American women are not allowed to vote. As noted below, perhaps a troubling background of the statute, whose history is rich in racism and misogyny. It's true. Remember, guys, Trump pardoned Jack Johnson, the heavyweight champion black boxer, who was convicted of this because they bullshitted in court saying that he took his white girlfriend across state lines. She was a whore. Therefore, he was guilty of it, and they put him in prison. They point out the DOJ has limited its application to people profiting financially and not using it to prosecute consensual adults for their lifestyles. Cassie and Diddy went to swingers clubs and they had threesomes. Cassie expressed interest and enthusiasm in her intimate life with Diddy, including what they called freak-offs. Jane and Sean Combs had threesomes too. When Jane and Diddy watched pornography together, she testified she contacted two different porn stars and invited them to join her and Diddy. Both Cassie and Jane testified that very often they would see the same men over again and over for years. Ugh. Clean your mouse, LED. Oh, hold on here. I got a Q-tip nearby, I think. So, very primitive pre-offs. Yes, our goo tubes are lavender scented. Remember, it was a very meaningful and very private relationship. I wonder if anybody else tasted Diddy's goo. You think Diddy's like, he tasted my goo, dog? In July 2024, Jane testified for instance that she suggested to Diddy they call Paul. Better call Paul. And that she told Diddy she missed Paul. And they talk about the transcript citations here. When asked why she said that, she responded, because I did. This was a lifestyle, one that both Cassie and Jane chose, one they all as grown adults had a right to choose. It's not without complications. It's bouts of jealousy and at times frustrations. That is a hallmark of any serious romantic relationship, and that is what these were, serious long-term romantic relationships. See, once again, Aaron and Nick, they're both gay! It's just there, chat. A jury listened to all the evidence at the center of the sprawling racketeering indictment, and the jury acquitted Diddy of all of the serious accounts and almost all the conduct to charge. The jury concluded that Cassie and Jane were not forced, coerced, or defrauded into having sex. But it did conclude there was prostitution, that payment for the cowboys for angels. The porn stars and others amounted to sex for money, despite what only 2 escorts called by the government testified to. And the lifestyle that he and other adults chose, Diddy would be called a swinger. But in the vocabulary of the Mann Act, or prostitution generally, he might at worst be somewhat analogous to a John. Someone who pays to have sex with a sex worker. In this case, a male sex worker. So, yes, chat, we're acknowledging that Diddy is gay. I guess. The way that's phrased, I guess Diddy's gay. 50 Cent dub. 50 Cent dub. 50 Cent, rack it up. Ring it up, chat. Yes. Nigga, you gay. Yes. Oh, man, that's a little rough. Yeah. Wasn't this known? I mean, it was kind of like known, and 50 Cent had talked about it going shopping, but now it's 100% out there. Diddy gay! Diddy's gay. Well, there we go. More particularly, a male sex worker who works for and is vetted by a well-known agency called Cowboys for Angels. It's like Aaron's going to be like, that was my name. I was going to use that. Or another similar agency who works as a paying porn star in connection with movies. Well, they go on to talk about Diddy should not be jailed for this conduct. He's the only person in the United States currently in jail for being a sort of John. I mean, like, until he gets released the next day, yes. And certainly the only person in jail for hiring adult male escorts for him and his girlfriend. Once again, they're admitting he's gay! It's like, jeez. You're really going to do that? You're really going to do that there? I mean, I guess. The prosecution is inconsistent with DOJ policy. And they say for over 75 years, the DOJ has made it clear through its own enforcement policies that Mann Act enforcement should be limited to cases where there's commercial gain. And they just keep going. And they say this should not be instituted without prior approval of the criminal division. Throughout their history, they keep talking about this. And they say today, it says, makes clear the prosecution of customers is limited to prosecuting those who engage in sex with victims of sex trafficking, in addition to those who otherwise perpetuate human trafficking offenses. They say in the absence of any sex trafficking charge, it's clear that they were never been prosecuted, and that's true. Without the rest of this, there was no case. So they just go on and, like, look, they just cite all these cases where there were defendants in maintained prosecution to make prostitution to make a profit. There's clear financial motives. That doesn't exist with Diddy. And they go to the Eastern District of New York, operating prostitution businesses for profit. They talk about other districts within the Second Circuit. And they talk about where a John was prosecuted is in the Western District of New York. And they say where the defendant was a retired police officer, along with a former New York State judge, hired women who they paid to have sex with members of a male fraternal group called the Jesters. They say, although they made no financial profit, and were having sex with the prostitutes and arranging for others, the female prostitutes were clearly victims of sex trafficking. So yeah, that's what happened there. Indeed, the owner pled guilty to sex trafficking and admitted to preying on ethnic vulnerabilities and immigration status. And the retired judge was sentenced to 18 months in prison. And although they didn't make a profit, they were taking advantage of trafficking victims. You're like, okay, yeah, I mean, that would happen here. And they say that there's rare exceptions involving female prostitutes who were exploited and trafficked. Everybody else was maintaining prostitution for a profit. And they're saying this isn't an exhaustive review, but this is a lot of fun. Like, look at all the work they've done so far, chat. That is a ton of time to work on this. And BobTube says, so it wasn't Diddy, or did he, but did he? Yes. And they talk about other guys who were normally released on their own recognizance following Mann Act convictions. And they say Diddy's been 11 months. That is a long fucking time now. So they're asking what to do here. There's no risk of flight. Diddy came to New York to surrender. He surrendered his passport to his lawyers before his arrest. He paid out the mortgage on his home prior to his arrest, so he would own the home free and clear to secure bail. And there's no reason he's going to flee. He's in a good spot. There's no reason for him to flee. He's probably going to get time served or, probation here. The court noted that the defense admitted history of domestic violence to Cassie Ventura and that he struck Jane twice in 2024. Although we object that Diddy poses a danger to the community. I mean, yeah, if you're his girlfriend, you might get tuned up, but yeah. Now, here's the thing they're saying, though. Diddy was provoked by Jane through her own acts of violence, and there's no evidence of any violence in the last 7 years, except for 2024. It's like, no, that's a great one in federal court saying, nah, judge, the bitch made me do it. They pointed out prior to his arrest, Diddy enrolled in a domestic violence program, which he participated until he was arrested and incarcerated. And it says the court's familiar with the trial, and they're not going to recite everything. The relationship with Cassie ended in 2018, and there's no evidence at trial of any physical altercations between Diddy and anyone else between their breakup and the physical altercation with Jane in 2024. And Jane says she testified that she started the altercation and she testified by smashing his head into her kitchen counter and threw glasses and candles at him, which there you go. And they say if released on conditions, he won't be violent to anyone. Unless you're Kid Cudi and he lights your car on fire. So what do they want? A $50 million bond secured by his home in Miami. The bond will be co-signed by 3 financially responsible people. Diddy will live in Miami. He will travel from the Southern District of Florida to New York for attorneys' meetings, as well as the airports necessary to travel between the two. Remember, because the SDNY does not have an airport. The SDNY is Manhattan. If you want to go like LaGuardia or JFK, you have to go to the Eastern District of New York. Or if you want to, if he's going to fly private into Teterboro Airport, that's the nearest private smaller airport. That's in New Jersey. He wants to be placed under the supervision of U.S. Pretrial Services Agency and report to that agency as directed. His passport will be surrendered to the court in pretrial services. And they say if they find anything other extraordinarily, they can do home detention, private security approved by the court, paid for by Diddy, get a mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment, electronic surveillance. They say Diddy's homes are equipped with cameras already and can be shared with pretrial services at their request. They can put them on GPS monitoring. Any other condition the court deems necessary. And Diddy can show that he does not pose any danger to any person. We thank the court for its consideration. The court's going to go, Denied. They're going to keep him. The judge is going to be like, look, you're done now. He's going to get like 12 months or so, 12, 13 months, 14 months and be done. But Diddy is trying to get out of jail. So it's very interesting, chat. Very interesting. Oh, that is yeah. Throw in an SED test while you're at it. Probably he needs one. Yes. He's only violent to Cuddy's bum. Yes. Lil Rod's got to watch out. Him and Cuba Gooding are prowling around. Yes, Bob too. But yes, is it Diddy? I know. But now it's confirmed Diddy's gay. Confirmed. So I thought it was very interesting. It's a very well written thing trying to, like, let's, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Moving on to another entertainer. You could call him a rapper. A new rapper with a new sound and a new drive. Oh, Darcy said, Darcy for $19.99 says the U.S. Attorney's Office filed a response at 11:30 p.m. Jeez. Man, they are fired up. They're like, it's got to go out now. And they're just like, LOL. Wow, they are fired up, man. They're putting in the late hours there. That's interesting. All right, chat. We'll get to Darcy. We may have to do that as another video here coming up, but that'll be a fun one to go through. I'm sure it's going to be great. But moving on to another rapper, hold on here. I got to remember the lyrics here. And when it's this idea, it's like P.D. Pablo. He's a new artist. It's a new artist coming into our vernacular, our world here, but it's somebody who's an OG, actually. A new player's entered the arena, chat. And it's one name you probably know very well. The other one you don't. And fighting out of the blue corner is Toni Braxton. Fighting out of the red corner is Birdman. And it's interesting. This is a very interesting story here. So she married Birdman last summer, but filed for divorce weeks later. And they're pointing out that Toni Braxton and Birdman have been married for 8 months. And they tied the knot on August 8th, 2024. And we know that's when they got married because she apparently filed for divorce 2 weeks later. You're like, what the fuck? That's right. Their separation is August 10th. And then 2 days later, they're already getting divorced. You're like, what the fuck is this all about? And there's I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but Birdman ain't no ain't no broke nibba. Let me just put it like that. You guys remember Birdman? He was part of the big timers. So they were heading for a split, but she dismissed the petition in 2025 and Birdman signed off on it. Okay, well, so what happened here? So as of now, they're still legally married. And there's some issues here. What's the issues? They split, they've been on and off. There's all kinds of stuff where they're just friends. But there's a big issue here between the two of them. Birdman is now looking at getting divorced. And Toni Braxton stuck around. Why? She's probably now seeking $160 million, which might actually be $200 million because he was getting paid more. he was getting paid more. And that's the issue here, that there's a concern that he got paid more recently, and from here, she is now, he's about to lose $100 million in a divorce because he's going to be $200 million. Yeah, this is getting interesting. So it's very interesting. We don't know yet for sure, but it's very funny. She stuck around just to hose him down. And, remember, they got married in California. It is going to be a, marital property state. And depending on how it happened. Yeah. So it's a little concerning what happened here. And it's not 100% clear. It apparently, if she waits till 2026, she's going to get $200 million, or half of the $200 million. So she got married and she wanted to get divorced, and they're like, wait, you can make a lot of money. She's like, I'll stick with him. She's like, I love you for a year. And then she's going to divorce him in 2026, it looks like. So we're going to put a pin in that one, chat. We're going to put a pin in that one. It's going to be very interesting. Because Birdman represents the New Orleans rap scene. Yes. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. All right, chat. Where are we at? All right, we are going to wrap this up here. We got our couple things here. Real quick, this is interesting out of the First Circuit. This is up in Maine. And this was a situation where people are challenging Maine's 72-hour cooldown period. 72-hour cooldown period. And that you had a 72-hour waiting period to buy a gun. And the court's saying, well, what do we do about this? Maine's 72-hour waiting period for purchasing a gun violates the Second Amendment, is alleged in the lawsuits. But they talk, this is just a little bit of background here. 3 to 14 days have been adopted in other states, plus Washington, D.C. In addition, other states like Maryland, Minnesota, and New Jersey impose waiting periods on handguns. And in Maine, they put the 72-hour delay in 2024. And they say of the 178 deaths in Maine in 2021, 158 were suicides. So a lower court issued a preliminary injunction against the law, finding it violated the Second Amendment. And now Maine is challenging it. Maine is challenging this whole thing. Now, Maine is asking some interesting things, and I'm going to try to find this first, this oral arguments, because it's going to be interesting. Maine is claiming it's only an infringement if it meaningfully impairs the keep and bear arms. He says, imagine if there was a 25-year waiting period. And the judges are saying here, this argument is the waiting period to check whether people are law-abiding, and they don't actually do that. And Maine's like, hey, well, we're doing it because it's a mental health crisis, potentially. The Supreme Court says you can wait to make sure people are safe, but you're not making sure they're safe. How are you checking it out? And if you already owned a gun, it doesn't work, but you could also do unadvertised sales. And the judges, it's very interesting. Even in the First Circuit, they're like, this is like Swiss cheese. And if I have an impulse problem, there's other ways I can get a gun. And notice they're saying you're taking a sledgehammer to a lot of people who are law-abiding and responsible, but not necessarily solving for other people. You're creating problems without a solution. And it's getting very interesting that the courts are like, yeah. They point out, though, once again, there's something individualized during the 3 days. You don't differentiate the people in good health from the insane. And they point out that, they said, like, if people needed safety classes in order for us to tease out who has a crisis, we wait 3 days. how you tease it out. Like, that doesn't work. But these judges are who were appointed by Biden, 2 of them, including a Biden and a Obama judge, are unsure how to frame the issue. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works. And they end with, I'm having trouble with how do you know the question to ask? That should be scary. These judges are fucking insane. No, we have not gotten to Sarah Boone yet. We're going to knock out those 2 last. Real quick, there's another case here, and this one's interesting. This came out of the 4th Circuit, and that's where West Virginia is, in Maryland. And this is about a guy who was involuntarily committed to a mental health institution. So violating 18 USC 922 G4. And the Supreme Court has said that's okay. You could, they're not striking that down in the face of Bruin, chat. So if you're insane, sorry, you're not going to get your opportunity to own a gun as much as you'd like to. So they talk about what happened here. He had been involuntarily committed 4 times between 2016 and 2019. Involuntarily committed. That means he's fucking insane, chat. Absolutely insane. And so what happened? He ultimately, guys, ended up getting he ended up getting put on probation. He ended up pleading out and getting time served. So he changed his plea to guilty. He got time served, and he got 3 years of supervised release. Now, this is interesting in the federal level. This is true. A guilty plea doesn't prevent a defendant from claiming on direct appeal the statute of his conviction is unconstitutional, and that's true. So they talk about a brief primer of 922 G4. Yes, and 922 itself comes out of the Gun Control Act of 1968. That's where all the parts of 922 G 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 through 8 existed. And then G9 came about because of the Lautenberg amendments. So they say, today you prevent a person who's been either adjudicated as a mental defective or committed to a mental institution. So, and the ATF has interpreted the phrase to apply only to those who have been committed involuntarily. And they define that as a commitment to an institution involuntarily. It includes commitment for mental defectiveness or disease or illness. It includes commitments for other reasons such as drug use. It does not include a person in a mental institution for observation or a voluntary admission, meaning you have to be there by a lawful authority. And that's how the ATF looks at it. So, guys, if you're ever worried about, if you were taken in for observation, you're okay. At least under federal law. Or if you voluntarily checked yourself in, pulled a Ned Flanders, you're okay. You're okay. And then they move on. We go through all the stuff with Bruin. We already gone through Bruin and Heller and all that stuff here. They talk about, though, what does it mean if you're mentally ill? What does that term mean? Is it meant if you've been prescribed an antidepressant? What about those who have been diagnosed with depression, anxiety? Well, schizophrenia, well, you're never really cured of that. Bipolar, or any one of these scores of discrete conditions. Well, what do we do? And they say there's another way to look at this. And they go through Bruin. They end up with Rahimi, though. Because Rahimi prohibits possession if you're subject to a court order that includes a finding you represent a credible threat. So they point out that the statutes don't bar every person who suffered from mental illness from possessing a firearm. It's only when an independent board or commission or other lawful authority has determined that there's a significant risk of danger. And it says preventing violence by those found to pose an increased risk is the reason. And they go through history and they find that throughout history, that's the case. But for a long time, the mentally ill were just cared for on an ad hoc basis by the family or community, and they were locked up. And they point out what happens. Whether it was the main response was incarceration, your family, or the community. The insane could be locked up, Sometimes they were locked up by their family in storage rooms or in flimsy outhouses. That used to happen. You'd lock your crazy relatives up in the basement, or you'd immediately just throw them in jail. The towns found other ways to incapacitate the mentally ill. In Pennsylvania, the court ordered construction of a small house for confining a guy after a guy's dad said that the guy was bereft of all of his natural senses and has turned quite mad. Remember, this is 1676. And he's too poor and wasn't able to maintain him. That's all Old English right there. And then Massachusetts, they did a 7 by 5 foot house for a brother's distracted sister. And they point out that in Massachusetts in 1676, the year of King Philip's War by chance, when most of Massachusetts burned to the ground. They resolved that there are distracted persons in some tunes that are unruly. The selectmen in all tunes, where such persons are hereby empowered and enjoined, shall take care of all such persons, that they do not damnify others. Meaning you got to leave people alone. And they say, finally, in Massachusetts, penal institutions, prisons, must accept lunatics and persons furiously mad if their behavior threatens everybody. So this has happened forever. There is a historical analog for it. And they say governments routinely incapacitated those suffering from mental illness, especially because you were a threat to the community. So it's not uncommon. It happens. We've done it forever. So they're upholding that. So if you happen to have been involuntarily committed, chat, there's an issue there, okay? And they point out the statute applies only once a court has found you to be a credible threat to another. And they say, second, this is time limited. Only for so long as you're subject to a restraining order for Rahimi. They say, third, the penalty for violating historical analogs is imprisonment. And they say, okay, well, the historical tradition that preceded largely shares the same features. And in West Virginia, where this guy got committed, you can only do it upon a judicial finding of, well, 1, you're mentally ill. 2, because of the mental illness that you possess a risk to himself or others. And 3, there's no less restrictive alternatives. And at the hearing, you can have counsel and a right to present witnesses. I've been through a couple of these very interesting hearings in voluntary commitments. So, and I've only been there. I represented a person who was a victim of this guy and I was like, I'll go. And he's like, yeah, can you go? I was like, sure. It was a very interesting hearing. It was very interesting. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool, actually, to like sit and listen and how they do it. And they have a lot of mental, it's very much like a guardianship hearing, except the stakes are a lot fucking higher. And they say it's consistent with the history requiring justice of the peace to find someone was so ill they pose a danger to sufficient commitment. So it's valid. It's going to be upheld, and this is probably how other districts or circuits will hold it. And they say Gould makes one more argument. He claims it's unconstitutional because then if an institution has released someone, that means they're no longer a danger. Okay, well, the court says no, and that's because West Virginia doesn't require a finding you're no longer a threat to be released. You can be released, when the conditions involving hospitalization no longer exist, or the individual can no longer benefit. You can be released with conditions, and they could be revoked if you don't comply, and that's true. When you're involuntarily committed, you are subject to recommitment. You can be released if a reasonable person is willing and able to take care of them, if you find someone. So ultimately, they emphasize the narrowness of their holding. Disarmament is facially constitutional under G4 because situation exists may be complied consistent with the Second Amendment. We express no opinion as to the as-applied challenges. So, yes, there are going to be some instances where you can take guns away from crazy people. So, just an interesting situation to come out of the circuit chat. Just an interesting thing you guys need to know to keep out there. So, Bella is saying 1 signature to get in and 5 to get out. Never forget, it's much harder to get out. It's always true. Be careful when you sign in because they may really think you're crazy. Also, Darcy, I just want to say thank you for the heads up on that. I appreciate it. Beverly Flores gifting 5 subs. Thank you for that support and your generosity, Bev. You know, that gets us another Clyde. I get you another woo out there. And then Bev is also, I don't want to say Beverly, not Bev, because I want to think you're Judge Bev. Became a member as well, Beverly. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you doing your part to keep these Grays moving, because this is a green neighborhood. Keep stepping, Grays. And then Fred Rush, has been a member for 11 months, says, I'll be damned if some Massachusetts cucks tell me I can't own a gun. Well, that's the spirit. Tell that judge you ain't going to do that. Psych PA. Either means psych physician assistant or a psych person who lives in PA. I'm not Pennsylvania. I'm not sure which. But welcome. Says, woohoo, the first time live with you. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Now, chat, we're getting on to the final battles of the night. This one's kind of funny. This is the Blue Angels. And if you guys are aware, the Blue Angels are the United States Navy's flight demonstration team. If you guys have seen it before. You've seen pictures of them before. Even if you don't know what you were looking at, these are the Blue Angels. They fly airplanes that are blue. They've done it since 1946. And some of you might say, wait, they've been around that long? Yes, they have. They demonstrate flight skills and the prowess of their pilots in the Navy. They have flown all kinds of airplanes throughout their history. Some good ones, some dogs. Right now, they have actually upgraded from the Legacy Hornets, the C&D model Hornets, to the ENF model Hornets. So yes, they fly Super Hornets. Now, they are flying older Super Hornets, but they do fly Super Hornets right now. And obviously, yes, I get it, Chad. If you're gonna look at this picture and tell me, well, Sean, these are I'm like, yeah, this is, these are the Hornets, and yeah. So yes, it's these are the Hornets that they're using. The airplanes they use, this is what they look like, and you're like, that's the original way they came, with U.S. Navy painted on their wings like that. When they first started flying, the Hellcats, and they moved into the Bearcats very quickly. Keopathic says, we made FNG salute to Blue Angels as they flew by in Pensacola. And that's where we're going to get to. Yes, they also have a C-130. Their equipment plane they haul around. So, yes, it's very interesting how they do it. If you guys don't understand, when you if you've ever been to the air shows and they're like, 3, 2, 1, hit it. Like, all that stuff is choreographed. All their flight maneuvers are choreographed, and it's all done by timing. Like, it's all when they practice their flight programs, they use stopwatches. That's what they have. And then when you're doing like formation flying, like, you aren't flying, you're following the flight lead and you're staring at them as you fly. So when you see those very tight formations they're in, all the neat stuff they do, it's really freaking cool how they do it. And it's some of the most difficult flying in the world. What they do, only second closest is the Thunderbirds, but like other countries have their flight demonstration teams, but none of them are as famous or as cool as the Blue Angels. And yeah, they do all kinds of cool stuff. And they fly out of Pensacola, Florida, where Pensacola, Florida is up on the Panhandle. In fact, this is the land of Florida Man. And more importantly for Florida Man, this is Null. This is Nullistan. This is Kiwi Stan up here. Florida man, which Null is the prototypical Florida man. They fly out of Pensacola and they take off out of there. And there is the Naval Air Station at Pensacola. And this is where the Blue Angels practice. As you can see here, it says Blue Angels practice. And this is their home base. They fly out of here all the time. Why? Because it's Florida. They got nice weather all the time. They need to practice. So they need to practice down at Naval Air Station, Pensacola, which is up here on the Panhandle, right, where Null could sit here and eat his cheese and cope. Apparently, I didn't get to hear, but I guess he said something mean about me or wasn't happy about my cheese comments. But yes, you could go up there and Null can eat cheese and cope while F-18s fly by. Oh. Given America's trajectory, they're going to have to change it to the U.S. gravy. Yes. Yes, Naval Air Station Pensacola does a lot of other training for military aircraft, but they do it there because it's a very nice, calm place. So what has happened here? Well, there's been a lawsuit, and you're like, I don't know how this works here. And I mean, when I first read this, I'm like, what? So here's the lawsuit. Ironically, though, it's in the district court for Washington. It's not in Pensacola, so it's not in Florida. So you're like, how the hell is this going to work? So it's a lady named Lauren Ann Lombardi. You're like, okay, well, what's she doing in here? What's she doing here? And she's suing people. She's suing Commander Adam Bryan in his official capacity as CO of the Blue Angels, Lieutenant Ben Bushong, and his capacity as the PAO, the Public Affairs Officer, and Jay Doe and their official capacity as a social media administrator of the Blue Angels. Now you're thinking, wait, you're suing members of the military. Why aren't you suing the United States? Well, who's the Secretary of the Navy right now? Secretary of the Navy. The current Secretary of the Navy is John Phelan. I don't know if he's the temporary one or not, but you're not suing Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. You're not suing the Secretary of the Navy. You're suing individual military members in their capacities as in their capacity as the commanding officer of the Blue Angels. The Blue Angels are a military outfit. They're not just a group of dudes fucking around. No, the Blue Angels are an official military organization. They have they're a real squadron. They're the flight demonstration squadron. So they are an official, yeah. They're an official squadron of the United States Navy. So it's like if you sued a Navy fighter squadron that flies off of the USS, George W. Bush or H.W. Bush. You can't just sue random military organization units. It's like suing a platoon of soldiers. You're like, how does that work? How does that work? How does that work? Now, don't be confused with squadrons because DevGru, the Developmental Warfare Group, SEAL Team 6, also has squadrons because they're done up in the similar way to the SAS and Delta Force. So, and Delta Force runs off squadrons, and DevGru has squadrons. But I'm talking about a squadron of fighter planes. It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. But she's not suing the right people. Notice when you have lawsuits, you're suing Pete Hegseth as the head of the Department of Defense. You're going to sue the Department of the Navy. If something happens, you don't sue Sergeant Bob for doing something wrong. You sue the government. You don't sue the individual people. And real quick chat, Fred Rush for 10 more subs. Let's fucking go. Thank you guys for that support tonight. I appreciate it. We get another Clyde. We'll do another one. You got to, chat. You got to. Wouldn't this be the fault of her lawyer? Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that here. So what did this lady do? So she's suing. Okay. And notice, yes, she has a lawyer, which this is so fucking weird. Why are you suing them? And that's the thing. She's not I think, and a lot of you guys are going to say, why is she pro se? No, she has a lawyer. And this is like, I mean, if you were going to sue military personnel for leading a military unit, you'd think you'd double, like, you could sue the government, but you got to do it the right way. So what do they say? This is a heart-wrenching story of emotional loss, needlessly compounded by unapologetic constitutional violations. When a beloved family member is terrorized by the United States Navy's Blue Angels, an American citizen exercised her right to criticize the government's role in her daughter's suffering. In response, a cadre of emotionally fragile snowflakes masquerading as naval officers chose the coward's path. They silenced the citizen's speech, violated their oath of the Constitutions, and brought disgrace upon the uniform they claimed to honor. Like, okay, really? A year later, when that same vulnerable creature died after enduring... Notice, it's a creature and her daughter's suffering. I know some of you are thinking, wait, what the fuck? Why are we... Her daughter, we're calling her a creature? Does that mean this isn't a human being? You might be correct, chat. We're going to get to that. Another Sonic assault. Sonic assault sounds like what Sonic the Raper does. He Sonic assaults him. During her final days on Earth, the Navy's constitutional betrayal compounded the tragedy. An American remained silent, unable to voice her grief over the scream of the fighter planes. Every August, a squadron of FA, meaning fighter and attack, meaning it's a multi-role fighter aircraft that can also engage in air-to-ground activity, chat. The F-18EF Super Hornets, also known as the Rhino or the Superbug, multi-role fighter aircraft descend upon the Puget Sound with the subtlety of a military occupation, conducting screeching low-altitude flights with their twin-end jet engines, exceeding speeds over 700 miles an hour. Only barely, because they're not authorized to break the sound barrier without FAA permission or military permission. But yes, I've been to air shows before where, like, you know, something comes screaming in over the crowd at 700 miles an hour. Like, it is so fucking cool, but barely. Notice he's not saying breaking the sound barrier. Producing decibels exceeding 130. Yes. Louder than a jackhammer at close range and sufficient to cause immediate hearing damage. This auditory carpet bombing is normally not part of an invading enemy force, destined to traumatize a captive civilian population. That's incorrect. That's actually a use of force that you can use in military aircraft. If you talk to guys who have been to Afghanistan, especially, you know, an F-18 or an A-10 or an F-16 coming screaming in at low level, using that sonic, you know, boom or just the loudness can scare away parties, but it also makes them know, oh shit, the Air Force is here and they're going to start dropping bombs on us. So there are times where it does have a use for doing this as a tactic. But rather represents the Navy's own elite aerobatic troop, the Blue Angels. With an annual budget exceeding $40 million, these self-proclaimed ambassadors of naval aviation conduct their cacophonous flight demonstrations ostensibly to ingratiate the general public to the work of the brave men of the Navy. Regardless of whether the public consents to this oral assault or not, this oral assault. Yes, chat, it's non-consent. It's consensual non-consent, chat. You just got to take it. Ugh! Take it. Take it, chat. Yes, I love how she doesn't sue the other Navy squadrons at Whidbey Island. Yes. There's all kinds of naval guys, it's the Puget Sound's where Bremerton is. That's where like 3 or 4 carriers are based out of, along with all their aircraft. But I agree, they're not playing, you know, they're not doing maneuvers out over Seattle. I hope she says they're jealous because they were inverted. Oh. So. Yes. Unlike law student says, this is a First Amendment issue. Well, we're going to get to that. We'll get to that. Inserts the TIE Fighter drop. Yes, TIE Fighters go. If you could sue the government for this, Miramar, where they do Top Gun, that would cease to exist. Yes. Due to all the pilot error leads to VMFAT 101 putting aircraft in the homes. Well, that's also another issue. Yes. Yes, that's where all the Navy planes keep crashing. Bella says 700 miles an hour, so they ran over her dog. Yes. Well, remember, for us, that we gauge in miles per hour. They engage in knots. They should take her up on a guest flight and make her puke her guts out. Well, that'd be funny as hell. So anyways, there's robust public discourse disputing the purported mutual benefits of this often fatal stunt show. Often fatal? How often fatal? How often do people die? The Blue Angels have a very good safety record. Now, are we going to make a joke about the Thunderbirds? Because that's kind of like, that's a bit over the line there, buddy. Although there is a joke. What goes thud, 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 thud? The Thunderbirds. They were doing a flight maneuver back in the day, and they were all in formation. And when you fly that formation, you're staring at the leader. And the flight lead did not gauge it right, and they were doing a loop, and he fucked up, and they all went poof right into the ground and died. Happened. What year was that? They were doing flight training in 1982, and 4 of them just went right into the ground. So. I was curious what type of law firm would take this case and where they were located. Is there a video? No, they were practicing. But they all just went right into, they lawn darted hard. They say every August, the Puget Sound residents endure what can only be described as state-sanctioned acoustic torture. A 2024 study found over 74,000 residents exposed to jet noises. Scientifically proven to cause hearing loss, hypertension, and sleep disruption. Veterans with PTSD report flashbacks. Autistic home residents have been terrorized mid-treatment during what should be therapeutic sessions. I know. They want to go see the airplanes. They're foaming. The Journal of Marine Science shows the jet noise penetrates the waters enough to impair the endangered orcas' hunting and communication abilities. Do the orcas come up the Puget Sound? I thought they stayed out in the ocean. During training exercises at a California naval base in 2021, a single sneak pass shattered buildings and triggered immediate health effects in nearby Navy personnel. Even internal emails grudgingly admit some valid concerns of safety impact to medical patients are being raised. And a sneak pass is where they just come in like right over everybody. So every August, Lauren Ann Lombardi engages in a familiar American pastime of complaining to her government about her government's actions through her government's social media accounts. As a human parent and advocate to her Layla. Right, chat? I told you. An elderly cat who suffered from congestive heart failure. It's a fucking cat mom. Lombardi expressed her displeasure at the taxpayer-funded naval squadron in unambiguously coarse terms that any red-blooded American can understand and appreciate. For the affront, the constitutionally literate bureaucrats running the Blue Angels Instagram page resorted to censorship instead of accountability, bringing shame upon the service they purport to represent. These thin-skinned bureaucrats, well, I mean, if the head of the Blue Angels, he's not a bureaucrat, he's flying, blocked Lombardi from commenting any further, thereby muzzling an American citizen while blinding the broader public from witnessing legitimate grievances against their government. Once again, they're suing the wrong entity. Every August, Layla would spend endless hours soaking up the sunshine, tracing the days like a sentient sundial, in peaceful communion with her protected backyard domain. Oh my God. It's like fucking Lionel Hutz wrote this. In 2024, the heart condition spiraled. Lombardi spent grueling nights at an emergency vet where fluid had to be drained from around the failing heart. So Layla returned home, heavily sedated and desperately exhausted, and unfortunately, perfectly timed with yet another Blue Angels sonic barrage. Even though the narcotic fog of sedation in her weakened state, I mean, the other thing though too is the Seattle air show is only a couple of days, so like they make it sound like it's all month long, and they don't, because for Labor Day they come out to Cleveland for the Cleveland air show. Actually, what does their schedule look like this year? So the show information real quick. So here's their show information. So they go to August. There's 2 fucking days they're in Seattle. Like they might be there for a couple days ahead of time. Like they might get there July. Like right now they're getting there and getting ready. But like they don't spend the whole fucking month getting there because very quickly they're going to Kaneohe Bay in Hawaii. And then after that, they go to Twin Falls, Idaho. And then the 23rd and 24th, they're in Columbus. Bastards. And then the Branson, Missouri. I mean, like, this is their entire thing. And they already have their 2026 calendar. In August, they're once again 2 days in Seattle. And then September 5th through 7th, next Labor Day, they're in Cleveland. The Cleveland National Air Show, which is a banger of an air show, I may say so myself. Yeah, Seattle's air show is not that long, so they make it sound like they've been there forever, and it's like, it's 3 fucking days. 3 fucking days. So, even though the narcotic fog of sedation, her primitive limbic system overruled her medication, and she fled in primal panic beneath furniture, her labor breathing clinically dangerous levels, Lombardi employed desperate measures to block or muffle the deafening roars. Barricading windows with blankets, flooding the house with calming music, shielding the ears to no avail. Whatever bandwidth the walnut-sized brain could previously gorge upon had been narrowed to a single overwhelming frequency, pure, debilitating terror. Jesus Christ. I mean, it looks like a nice kitty, but I'm sure her owner's a psychopath. So every August was good until then, but no August would ever be the same again. Her condition continued to deteriorate, and she left home again for the final time. She spent her last week fighting for her life in a specialty hospital before being humanely euthanized on August 11th. I'm not going to lie, but she probably should have been euthanized a little bit before that. Like, if you're taking the cat every fucking time back to the vet for routine, like, removing her fluid from her heart, how much quality of life does she have at that point? You're giving her quantity of life, but she's not, like, does that cat really have quality of life at this point? I mean, Jesus, she, like, it sounds like she should have put it down a little earlier. Fucking cat suffered for a while, it sounds like. This lady's just being, like, didn't want to let it go. Her final days on Earth were marred by sadistic suffering, cowering in terror beneath furniture. Well, no, she was at the hospital, while her ailing heart struggled against the relentless noise pollution. Layla died knowing only fear when she should have known only love. So, and this is Laura Lombardi embracing Layla during her final days. Cat's just like, kill me. So they talk about the cowardly censorship and allergy to criticism turn personal tragedy into constitutional treason. By maintaining their block against the scathing complaints, compounded with her grief that her own government had silenced her voice, times she needed the most. As precedent in Knight Institute v. Trump and other cases has shown, government officials cannot hide behind their own personal sensitivity or cowardice to escape criticism or accountability. And that's true, chat. Government organizations can't block you. They don't have that right. Remember, people sued Trump over that, and they won. And then AOC tried to do it, and people brought that up, and she had to let them back on. So you talk about jurisdiction and venue. I have a very quick belief here that venue's proper. This is going to get brought to Washington, D.C. very fucking quick. The U.S., because these guys are going to, like the head of the Blue Angels, the squadron commander, is going to get served, and he's going to go right up to the legal officer, and that legal officer is going to push it up to the Judge Advocate General Corps, and the DOD is going to get involved right away. So the parties. Lauren Lombardi is a resident of Seattle, Washington. Commander Adam Bryan is the CO of the Blue Angels and is responsible for overall command and operations. Ben Bushong is sued as the PAO of the Blue Angels. He still flies, too. Defendant Jane Doe, or John Doe, is sued as their capacity as social media manager of the Blue Angels. And that's very likely some member of the military, too. Probably some enlisted person who's in charge of the social media stuff. So, and they say, including the Instagram account that blocked Lauren Lombardi's account. They say factual allegations. Layla was the greatest cat that ever lived. You know what they're going to say to that number 14? Deny. Because they included the rest of this. Her final days on Earth were pockmarked by debilitating terror brought on by the actions of the U.S. government. Deny. Number 15, Lauren Ann Lombardi was the devoted mother to Layla. Deny. Because they don't know all this shit there. She honors Layla's memory through the Instagram account Garden of Lay. Plaintiff Lauren Lombardi respects and supports the U.S. Armed Forces and their mission, okay? And her criticism of the Blue Angels was focused on their environmental and constitutional harms caused by their demonstration practices and subsequent censorship activities. Okay. Talk about Instagram. And then, yes, they talk about how you government Instagram accounts, blocking an Instagram. And blocking operates surreptitiously. Blocked users aren't notified they've been blocked. Well, even if that did, that wouldn't matter. So what happened? Well, the Blue Angels have an official Instagram account under the handle at U.S. Navy Blue Angels that they use to share information with this. Starting on or about July 31st, the Angels began conducting low-level flight practice and demonstrations all over Seattle multiple times a day, generating noise and disruption in residential neighborhoods. And it is true, if you live in a town where the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels come in to fly, yeah, they have to practice. They practice at least once a day. Like, they have, like, if they don't, they'll crash and die. Like, it's very dangerous. They have to know what they're doing. So yeah, them flying all the time. Like when I lived in Toledo, I lived near the airport where Toledo had an air show. And for like 2 or 3 years in a row, the Thunderbirds would come to the air show. So like you'd sit there and you'd be mowing the yard and all of a sudden you just hear like, and they just come like screaming in over the trees. And you're like, well, this doesn't seem very manly right now to mow the yard. And you just keep mowing and you're watching them as like, I'd be watching them mow and I'd be mowing as I'm like watching them fly around every once in a while. Like the lines get all a little crooked. Then I have to go back and redo them. But like you'd watch them practice and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of a neat thing to do. Also, real quick chat, if you need to know, the for the rest of August here, the Thunderbirds this year are out and about, and they will be at the Cleveland Air Show at the end of the month. So there we go. That's what's going on. I just had to check because I had to know. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going in this. All right. In response to the demonstrations that I'm concerned for Ailing Cat, she posted multiple critical comments and direct messages. What was she going to say? Fly slower? Turn the sound off. So she sent a bunch of messages. This is the problem, though. When you start this, you're allowed to comment, but at some point, if you are you do lose, like, your speech is not unlimited. Stop with your fucking bullshit. You're terrorizing my cat and all the other animals and wildlife. Fuck off. Nobody gives a fuck about your blades. It's like, okay. In addition, she'll have multiple comments tagging their handle or other accounts, directing other users to sign a change.org petition. Says, we all want to feel safe. No more Blue Angels over Seattle. You're going to get out. You know how many people are going to go, that's gay? And a lot more people go to the air show, honey. On October 5th, the Blue Angels blocked her account from any further interactions. In response, she sent them a direct message calling them cowards. I'm sure she said a lot more, which appeared to be sent but was never delivered due to the blocking. Yes, this is okay. Yes. All right. Now, if that's all she said, she's probably okay. This blocking occurred within days of plaintiff's critical messages and was directly caused by the viewpoint expressed in her speech, criticizing their impact on vulnerable animals and civilian populations. None of the speech directed at the Blue Angels was ever in violation of any Instagram's terms of service. This kid has a memorial website? Wow. Oh, and hold on here. The lawyer is the woman's husband? Oh, no, chat. I smell some soy boy here. As a result of the blocking, plaintiff suffered immediate and ongoing harm. She was prevented from communicating with the Angels, prevented from receiving information from their account, viewing public discourse, and having others see her criticism. Upon information and belief, they deleted the critical comments left on their post. Well, you could verify by reading the complaint, reading the comments from another account. The blocking remains in effect to this day. The plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer frustration, distress, and prevention from participating in public discourse. Layla died after suffering a Blue Angel sonic assault. This is so gay during her final days. The continued blocking prevents her from her expressing her grief and renewed criticism. Is that your grief when you're like, fuck off? That's how your cats remember it, huh? All right. So the causes of action. So the causes of action are First Amendment related because it imposes a viewpoint-based restriction on her participation. And I think they're probably correct on that. This is going to get dismissed because they sued the wrong parties. You have to sue the fucking U.S. Navy and the U.S. DOD. You can't just sue the unit. Sonic assault is tails in that one? Yeah, I don't know. So the blocking does violate her First Amendment, and I probably agree on its face at least, although maybe there's more she said. The defendant's blocking violates the First Amendment because it imposes a viewpoint-based restriction on her ability to petition the government for redress or grievances. Once again, if this is all she said that they fucking deleted her for, then yeah, she's correct. I would agree it's protected. But if she said some other crazy shit, that's going to turn into a no for me. Oh, shit. Okay. See, you guys didn't say anything about the screen here, so. Okay, so anyways, we'll go back up. So, if this is all she said, I don't have a problem with it. But if she said anything more, which it kind of sounds like there's probably more to this. If it's not, these are First Amendment violations, 100%. This is a First Amendment violation, but it's going to get dismissed because she sued the wrong party. She sued the wrong people. And the relief requested, she declared the defendant's blocking a plaintiff from the official Blue Angels account is unconstitutional, and an injunction for them to unblock and prohibit the defendants from blocking her or anyone else on the basis of viewpoint. They ordered the defendants to take remedial training on fundamental importance of the First Amendment, which the brave women of the U.S. Navy are sworn to protect. Well, that's just them being assholes. Nassim Bushita. What? All right. I mean, a little bit there. So, and this is the weird thing here. Because this guy, this is a weird one because apparently this guy has sued the like, this is weird because, like, if you Google this guy, it's the same dude in the Western District of Washington. He sued the Department of State Department, for FOIA. So he knows who to sue. Why is he suing random jack-off military members? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why he, you know, I don't. I mean, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. I don't see the Pavis law firm. It's in Seattle. Okay, well, there's one in Florida, it looks like. So, yeah, this is interesting. Well, yeah. This is a little weird, chat. When you Google this woman and you find her LinkedIn, there's some weird stuff here. There's some weird stuff, chat. There's some weird stuff here. So there's some weird stuff, chat. We're gonna bring this up. When you Google her in this, look what you find. Look what you find. She is a paralegal and licensed funeral director and embalmer. Do you think she stuffed her cat? She's his paralegal. Yeah. So that is hilarious. That is hilarious. That's hilarious, chat. So I wonder if she embalmed the cat. That would be very, very concerning. So, and no, I hate this. Every time you pop into LinkedIn, hey, do you want to pay money for shit? I'm like, no, I'm not paying for fucking boomer Facebook. At all. So, yeah, that's so weird. Yes, she is his paralegal. Yeah, Bushida became a public defender and has practiced as Pavis law. Okay. I'm hearing the law degree from Georgetown in 2011. It was admitted there. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. When he tells her, it's just like, I mean, I'm disappointed. Like, you can't, like, you don't sue the right organization here. So that's already going to lose. Yeah, is it a First Amendment violation? Sure. But they aren't suing the right parties, so this should flat out lose. This should flat out lose. I don't think it should work. I mean, they sue the wrong people. They sue the wrong people. You have to sue the right people here. You have to sue the right parties. All right, chat. And then the last thing here. We heard about this in the beginning of July. And it's about Sarah Boone. We're going to end on Sarah Boone for tonight. America's sweetheart. The woman who packed our heart away with her. Do you think she Karen's out to the bodies? Sure. She's a lot younger than I thought she'd be. Oh, I know. I thought she was going to be some 65-year-old lady. But Sarah Boone. So what did she do? She filed a notice of inquiry. And she's saying, here's the thing. She says, my court-appointed attorney, he was appointed on December 18, 2024. Remember, Sarah Boone was convicted of murdering her boyfriend and shoving him in a suitcase and killing him and beating him with a bat when he tried to escape and left him in there to die. And it looks like she may have shoved him down the stairs to the point where his skull cracked on a couple of the treads and bled everywhere. But she says, my attorney sent me a single email or inmate messaging in February of 2025 asking if she had any information and not to hesitate to contact me. Well, when you're dealing with appellate stuff, you generally don't get a lot of communication. They've attempted to contact him 5 times. Now, remember, Sarah says this all the time, but we learned from the other attorneys who stood up to her, no, Sarah's a fucking liar, and Sarah's a bit crazy. And sent 2 handwritten letters to his office in efforts to receive the status of her appeal and to confirm receipt of her correspondence. And she got no response from him. Who knows if that's true or not? Sarah has demonstrably lied, so we don't know if these are true or not. These aren't even yes or no. It's like, we don't know. To this date, she has not received any type of response, nor has any of her 9 third-party representatives on her behalf via email, which go directly to his voicemail. Well, who knows? Who knows what the hell is going on? Because remember, Sarah's crazy. Ongoing 7 months, she has received only 1 message. Well, that's not like not hearing from your appellate attorney a lot. Like, they're fucking working on your appeal. Appellant was recently made aware by a third party that the court issued an order on June 13th with a 20-day due date, requiring an initial brief to be filed or appeal may be dismissed. That's kind of like a normal order when the transcript is prepared. Due to the complete lack of proper effective communication, the appellant's appeal is now in jeopardy. Well, it's not necessarily, but I get it, Sarah, because he won't listen to you. The failure of an appointed attorney to perform his duties with their client cannot be held against the appellant, and that's correct. If your court-appointed attorney fucks up, that's not your fault. Dismissal of the appeal would be an obvious denial of her due process, and in a case like this, yeah, it would be. She further invokes a case of Douglas v. California, which guarantees the right to counsel on a first appeal as of right. And then she's citing what appears to be Anders v. California, which outlines the duty of appellate counsel to support the appeal or withdraw following proper procedures, neither of which have been followed here. Yeah, but that's the Anders v. California is an Anders brief. That's what you file when there's no meritorious defense for your client. You go through the entire appeal and you say, because I've had to do these before. These usually happen like if somebody, because a lot of court-appointed appeals, chat, are like people who get sentenced. And they just don't like the fact that the judge fucking smoked them for time. And they don't like the fact they're going to fucking prison. So they want to appeal. Well, the court takes the appeal and, gives it to an attorney. The attorney looks through it, it's like, yeah, this guy was sentenced properly. And you go through and you write pursuant to Anders v. California. I've looked at the case. Here are all the potential issues I could find. And there's no problem. And then you submit it in and you say, I'd like to withdraw. It's all frivolous. There's no non-frivolous argument. And generally, if you do it right, the court says, you know what, you're correct. We agree. You're withdrawn. Defendant, it's up to you. What do you want to do here? It appears you don't have an appeal. Or let's say you think there is an appealable issue or potential. Remember, it just has to be non-frivolous. It doesn't have to mean you're going to win. It just means one you can make an argument for. And the court will say sometimes, actually, Sean, or whoever, we think there is an appealable issue. But because you looked at it, you didn't think there was, we're actually going to appoint a different attorney. And I've had that happen before where I'm like, I don't think that's an appealable issue. The court's actually like, they read a little more cautiously and they're like, yeah, there is. And then they let that attorney look at it. They appoint another attorney and the attorney makes the argument. The court's like, yeah, no, we're not agreeing with that at all anyway. So it happens sometimes. Those are options. So she requests this court to advise and take notice of these violations. Well, are they violations or just, I don't know what's going on, and either compel the attorney to fulfill his legal duties and communicate immediately, or appoint new counsel capable of necessary communication and representation. Now notice, Sarah keeps fucking saying this. So is this really true? I don't know. Because Sarah could be a fucking idiot. We don't know anymore. With her. Oh, it's almost 1 o'clock, chat. We got to roll. Shit, I'm so sorry, guys. I've kept you up. So her appellate attorney, filed a response this week to all these things here. This is a little weird. So he wants the motion to withdraw. Okay, so he's respectfully requesting to withdraw his counsel. Request new counsel be appointed. He says the appointment and procedural posture. He says Sarah was convicted and then she filed a notice of appeal. The undersigned was appointed by the lower court as conflict counsel after conviction to handle the appeal. He says, after the notice of appeal has been filed and the undersigned has complied with the appellate rules by filing the necessary statement of judicial acts, directing the Kirk and transcript designations. And they say that trial counsel may not be relieved of duties except with approval of the lower tribunal on good cause shown. That's correct. You can't quit on your own. You have to ask them for permission. The undersigned is no longer practicing appellate work or accepting court-appointed appellate cases, which would make continued representation a hardship. Now, continuing to represent Sarah on appeal would materially impair counsel's ability to provide effective assistance and would delay or jeopardize her appellate rights. So maybe he's getting out of the game. I don't know. I don't know if this guy's quitting. Maybe he found another job. But normally, if you find kind of like Steve Gosney took a job doing working in a civil firm. You would normally just say, Your Honor, I got hired for a law firm and I can't take this work anymore as part of my book of business. And you know what? The court's going to be like, okay, yeah, we can't really fault you for finding a good job. Congrats. But this guy, maybe he's to the point where he doesn't have to accept court-appointed work. God bless him. Maybe he's one of those good ones, lucky ones out there where he's like Bruce Rivers. Dude makes fucking money hand over fist. You know, God bless. I hope that's what's going on there. We don't really know. They say, he points out there's a need for appointment of successor counsels. And he says that the lower tribunal should appoint the public defender or the Office of Criminal Conflict and Conflict Counsel to represent. There's client contact information pursuant to that. He provided the appellant's last known information, Sarah Boone, inmate U72509, and she's in Ocala, Florida. And he says he wants the court to allow counsel to withdraw, appoint the appropriate office to be there, and grant such other relief as is proper. Signed by Josh Adams. And this is an issue here. I think here's a big problem, though. He gave a copy to the Attorney General of Florida. Okay. But there's nothing for Sarah. And when you're withdrawing like that, you should certify you sent to Sarah. Because if you're leaving, Sarah needs to know you're leaving. You have to give her notice you're leaving. You have to tell your client what's going on. Now, how often are you supposed to contact your client? As is necessary. Now, at the trial level, that's different. You're going to talk to them all the time. For appeals, there's not a whole lot you could do because it's what's ever in the record. The cake has already been baked. So Sarah can't provide a ton of insight. I mean, sure, she might want to talk to him, but talking to her a couple times that's going to be enough. She's not entitled to see him like once a week in preparation for a trial. So I don't know what's going on here. Something's weird here. So, but once again, Sarah fucking lied about everything. So who knows? Who really knows? I don't know. I don't know, chat. So, with that said, chat, we are done. We are done. Hold on one second. Yes, sweetheart. Sorry, I had you guys on mute there. So, what are you trying to type out there, guys? It's not working. Anyway, that is it for us tonight, chat. Thank you guys all for being here. Like I said, a lot of funny stuff. And a lot of kind of funny stuff, but still funny stuff. So, with that said, chat, we're going to wrap this up. Tomorrow night, we may have something special. I don't know. Otherwise, we'll be covering some things. This weekend, we got some stuff planned. And, yeah, that's really it. Starting August, we're done with summer, guys. The dog days of summer are here. So, with that said, chat, I am going to leave you with the request to go to potentiallycriminal.com. Yes, potentiallycriminal.com, chat. You too can help Clyde make sandwiches for me. And you can tour the website and get to your heart's content. Once again, chat, you can play the Clyde sandwich stacking game over at potentiallycriminal.com. Once again, Maddie, thank you for putting that together. That was fucking hilarious. I'm not going to lie. Your birthday message got nuked. I'm sorry. Real quick, did I miss anything? Oh, Barton Bella for 5 subs. Let's fucking go, chat. Thank you, guys. Yes. Then Stephen Cooper had one last comment. Can I sue DevGru for leaving an unfinished leaving an unfinished book and a dead airman on my back lawn? I understand that joke. No, we're not going there. We are not going there. I am not doing that one, chat. Nope. That is not worth it. So, chat, I will see you guys. And remember, we're going straight over to locals. We're going to head over right there right now. And just remember until next time, chat. Oh, keep ethics. What? You got banned from the Navy's Twitch. Navy has a Twitch chat for talking about hookers in Southeast Asia. Do I have a case? Maybe. I figured you get kicked out on the Marines chat. Although the Marines would be like, hell yeah, brother. That's right. We do when we go to Thailand. But with that said, chat, I will see you next time. And remember, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. I mean, I guess don't do the LeBron Mpreg videos, though. Apparently, you might get in trouble for that. Don't do that, chat. And don't block crazy cat ladies from your Instagram account, too. Don't do that. Don't do that. I guess. Michael Gelke saying, what's the joke? It's the joke is about the Battle of Roberts Ridge. In 2000 and early 2001, and it's a story of John Chapman. He was left for dead by the Navy, by a couple of Navy SEALs that were part of the team he was on, and they flew away without him off a mountainside, and he was left on a mountainside in Takurgar, Afghanistan, to fight it out with like 30 Chechens by himself. And he won the Medal of Honor, and he fucking slayed. Like, they have him on drone. There was like a Predator drone flying around, and you can watch him on the thermal just fucking laying it down. He took out a couple of bunkers before he finally died. Yeah. Yes, Chechens. Yes, Chechens, because Al-Qaeda, remember, Al-Qaeda was the international all-star team, so a lot of Chechens fought in Afghanistan. So, but yeah, anyways, chat, that is it. I'll see you guys over on Locals. And take care, chat. Good night. Good night.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops. Even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fact